Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. If you missed it, John Mozeliak was in studio for an hour with TMA earlier today. Alex, thought it was really good stuff.
I did too.
Thought it was open. He was honest. You could tell he's moving into a new chapter in his life.
I like Mo, who knows his job is done. That type of Mo is always fun for me.
It's great. These are my favorite interviews to do. So kudos to the guys for doing one, and I thought they did a really good job with it, because you typically can get a more candid version, especially in this scenario, of an individual who's been in a job for 15 years now here in St. Louis. So he's got a lot of stories to share. He's got a lot of insight to share. And even if, whether you love him or you hate him, John Mozeliak has a lot of experiences that are worthy of drawing upon. So I thought there was a lot from the interview that we should go ahead and revisit, Alex. And I thought the most interesting answer, the most insightful answer, and the one that's going to matter the most for the Cardinals in the future was what John Mozeliak had to say about the Cardinals model, where it is today, and what it means for their future. Take a listen to this. This comes from TMA with John Mozeliak earlier today.
The Cardinals were always sort of in between in the sense of that we tried to develop our own and sign them. Those were the Pujols, Molinas of the world, the Waynos, if you will. But then we tried to augment it by finding that extra talent in trades. The problem, though, that's happened over the last, 15, 20 years is the owners have changed, right? Back when Disney owned Anaheim, they looked at it as a line item, and if, they weren't happy with what they were seeing, they would say, well, move that player, i.e. Jim Edmonds. And then, that allowed us to leverage that. But now you're seeing individual owners with extraordinary wealth that, they can do what they want to do. And even if they have a bad contract, they don't care. And, that's just a tough marketplace to compete in when you are a smaller market. And ultimately, as we stated earlier, our payroll is driven by what our TV contract looks like, what our attendance looks like. The Wits are not pocketing money, but what they are trying to do is not have to spend money that puts us in a loss. So we're not doing cap calls or things like that. But, ultimately, because of the model we had, we were always able to punch well above our weight relative to market size.
All right, Alex. So there's a lot there. But it began with the entire model, which is, hey, these bad organizations become a feeder program for the Cardinals, right? The Angels, the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, they're able to use these teams. The Royals used to be this for the Yankees once upon a time.
The Athletics were this for the Cardinals when they got Holiday.
That's another one. And you would use them as a feeder program to send you their good players. They play out their rookie deals for these respective franchises, and then once they get close to the end of their contract, they're looking for an extension. The Cardinals come calling, hey, we'll take that guy on, end of his contract here, and then we'll start a new contract here because we'll get them re-signed. I think some of that is still happening. I would push back on this just a little bit with Mo. I do think that is still happening to a degree. Maybe it's less often than it once did, but when it happens, we've seen this in the NHL. It's the same thing. Guys basically choose their next destination. Yeah. And I think this is something that has changed, or maybe just the types of players that are going through this have changed a bit, whatever you want to call it. And those players are choosing the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers. I think the places that have traditionally been the more glamorous markets, because these teams, for the most part, are all now willing and able to spend, unlike they were maybe in the past. I think that's part of what's changed. The ownership group in, LA with the Angels, yeah, sure, that's changed. The bigger one that's changed, though, is the Dodgers. And they're now spending, and they're taking on those contracts. The Yankees have always been one of these teams. The Mets, maybe they operated at a time in the early 2000s where they could take on one or two of those deals. Now they'll take on all of those deals. Philly, we're ready to take on all of them. And so these coastal cities that were always appealing to players are now able to hoard these massive contracts in a way that, yes, St. Louis was maybe a secondary destination, but for a lot of these players, they're not even getting to their secondary options before they find a taker in their primary options. So I think that's a big part of what's led to where we are today, Alex, is it's harder to find those players that can come here to St. Louis and make this their home maybe than it was 15, 20 years ago.
Well, and let's call a spade, too. Like those teams that you just mentioned, yeah, they're willing to take on those big contracts and hold on to them, but they're also successful teams that players want to go to. It's not just that they're coastal teams that are a great place to live, but they're teams like the Dodgers or teams like the Yankees or the Mets. Like they're spending money, but they're also winning. And that is something that the Cardinals have not had.
Good point.
And so when you're acquiring the Jim Edmonds back in 2000, now Jim Edmonds is a special one because that was at the tail end of them not being competitive but starting to get competitive. But, think of the Scott Rowlands that they were able to go get from Philadelphia, Matt Holliday from the Athletics. Those were guys that saw Albert Pujols and saw a team that was just continuing to be first in the NL Central and saying, well, St. Louis, I've heard, is an incredible place to live, and hell yeah, I want to go play with Albert Pujols, a generational talent, and I got a chance to win a World Series every year. Why wouldn't I want to go there? And yeah, I'll wait and see what happens, but I'm probably going to re-sign. So the model may have shifted in their eyes, but it's not because the market has shifted. I mean, I think the market's still doing the same thing. It's fewer teams that are feeding on those smaller level organizations because they know that they can take on those massive contracts, and those organizations know they can get out of them. But also, the Cardinals are kind of left standing there because they don't have the winning pedigree that these teams do. Nobody wants to go play with Yuri Von Herrera and Alec Burleson when I can go play with...
No offense.
Yeah, no offense. Maybe you'll get here, but, I got freaking Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts
play with that guy.
Bryce Harper or Pete Alonso and Juan Soto.
Or San Diego now is one of those teams that's taking on some of these deals. And, I'll go play with Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado.
And they got a beach... or in the,
we have an arch.
Or a big city. So
Or you can go to Texas where there's no state income tax, where I can play for the Houston Astros or the Texas Rangers, both of whom are willing to take these deals on. And I hate to break it to people, when the Athletics at least start to actually do something, if they ever do, guess what? They're going to Vegas. And we all saw what happened in the NHL with state
Vegas.
Income tax there either. Like it becomes this thing where like, okay, I'll go to the big city. I'll go to the no state income tax. I'll go to all of these other places away from the central divisions.
Yep.
And I think that's what's happening is you're seeing it's starting to spread more and more to the East and the West Coast, less and less in the Midwest. This is not me caping for the Cardinals, by the way. The Cardinals, I believe, still could do some of this stuff. I think they should do some of this stuff. But they choose not to in a way, and it's becoming harder to do so. So it's easier to decide we're going in a different path. We're going to start going down the draft and develop. That's the way we're going to get our stars instead. So we'll see if it works. I think it's a hard model to follow. I think it becomes increasingly difficult as you start to fail at this model, where you start chasing and you're chasing and you're chasing. It's tough, but I thought it was interesting to hear him explain that earlier today.
One more thing I want to add before, I don't mean to keep cutting you off, T-Bone, but I also think that this model of drafting and developing, it's all fun when you have it on paper and you start to see the fruits of the labor, but at some point you have to delve into trading these guys that we're drafting and developing and go out there and bring in the big superstar. Otherwise, you're going to keep searching for the Albert Pujolses, and you're just going to keep doing the song and dance every single year.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going, is whether you got to find that first star that helps lead to winning, to then add to where teams, or players I should say, look at your organization and say, okay, yeah, I wouldn't mind going to St. Louis, right? Whether that is you draft and develop him and maybe Weatherholt becomes that star to where you start to win with him. Other players around the league look at that and go, okay, that doesn't look like a bad situation. I wouldn't mind playing with J.J. Weatherholt. But let's also call a spade, as Alex said. Look, the San Diego Padres, their first guy wasn't Tatis, right? It was Machado first, was the first superstar. Well, okay, which they failed on the first try.
Not a superstar.
We can't all be perfect, okay? San Diego's point of that. But Machado was the first one that was there as the superstar that actually worked out.
No doubt.
And then you add in Tatis, and now you look at that organization, you go, okay, that doesn't look bad. They've got everything that I want. Winning is the thing that will drive a lot of players. Money is number one. But winning's right there up at the top there as well. And that's, to your point, Alex, what the Cardinals had. They had the pedigree as an organization.
There were a couple other things that I wanted to get to here from John Mozeliak that I thought were worthy of your time. We'll go a little long in the open. I apologize, T-Bone. Our clock's going to be shot. It is what it is. John Mozeliak was asked about the Randy Arozarena trade. Take a listen.
If he couldn't have gotten a wireless signal in the Atlanta clubhouse, Randy Arozarena is still in St. Louis. There's my master's thesis.
Great question.
Yeah, possibly. That was tough. But really, if you think back to it, we did have a plethora of outfielders at the time, and we were just trying to determine which one we could move to ultimately get a pitcher, young starting pitcher or controlled pitcher. And this is where I'll get killed. But at the time, it was a Rosarena or O'Neill. And apparently we chose wrong.
Some other folks
All right, be nice, people. Be nice. Like I said, mistakes happen.
Did you hear it there, Mo, when he was like delaying in his answer and he was stumbling? I think he was thinking in his mind, do I want to say this? Do I want to say this? And then at one point he was like, ah, bleep it. I'm retired. Let it fly.
It's the first time I've heard him publicly acknowledge that. I don't think I had ever heard him say that.
I've heard him call the Randy Amos trade a mistake. I've never heard him acknowledge O'Neill was the one that we didn't trade.
That's what I'm talking about. I have never heard him acknowledge that. I've never heard him acknowledge the cell phone thing.
Not that either.
The cell phone thing was like, ooh.
We all kind of had our theories on it.
Yeah, we were right.
And it sure sounds like sometimes the things that you theorize end up being accurate. Now, on the Tyler O'Neill side of this, Alex, that's not surprising to me that they would have held on to O'Neill over Randy Rosarena. No. A, they were already playing him over Randy Rosarena. B, Tyler O'Neill is also part of why they chose against going and trying to acquire Bryce Harper. I know he was asked about Harper earlier today. He said, yeah, no, that was never really a thing that was close. Yeah, everything that I had always heard over the years, and maybe he would push back against this is possible, but I've heard this from people that are close to the organization. They were never close on Harper because they never tried for Harper because they thought they had somebody internally that projected to be damn near as good as Bryce Harper while paying him, a 100th of the cost.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they were really high on Tyler O'Neill. That part to me is not a surprise. The fact that they had potentially their choice of which one they wanted to move on from and they ended up choosing wrong here, that is what it is. This is the kind of thing they're going to have to do, by the way.
Yeah.
Starting this offseason, they're going to have to make moves exactly like this. You have two outfielders. This team's calling. You get to choose which one you trade. And it becomes up to you which one you move, and then you get to live with the consequences of that. This is one of those deals, much like the Marcell Ozuna deal. I don't blame them for doing it. I'm glad that they tried. What frustrates me is that they ended up stopping. They stopped trying after that.
But what also frustrates is the talent evaluation or the player evaluation didn't go the way you needed it to. Because like this one, I understand the excitement of Tyler O'Neill. He was already playing at the major league level, but how is it that everybody in the organization didn't see what Randy Rosarena was capable of versus what Tyler O'Neill was doing at the major league level? Because it's not like he was breaking down barriers. Like, O'Neill was fine, but it wasn't like he became this all-star, and you saw it in the minors, but you never really saw it at the major league level. And the Sandy Alcantara and the Marcell Ozuna one. I'm not upset that they made the trade. They needed to make the trade. But I think Waino was telling TMA this morning. It's like when you got a 6'6" guy who's heaving the ball as fast as Sandy was, you kind of look at it and you're like, yeah, I'd probably love to go back and trade someone else other than that. That's the player Sure, but that's the player evaluation that I hope Heim is better at because it fell off for Mo over the last few years.
I agree. I still will. Like, Mo has said many times that's the one that he regrets the most. He even choked on his own throw up this morning as he talked about it once again.
Gross.
But I mean, he made a move that was really bold, and it didn't work out. But I will continue to say it was the right move at the time. They desperately needed that kind of a bat, and they had a ton of pitching coming. It just didn't work out for them. All right, next thing up that I wanted to get to. He was asked about Mike Shildt.
Well, this is kind of tied into Randy.
Another thing, I've never heard him acknowledge any of the stuff that he said today. Now, he was still playing it close to the vest. I want to say that. This is the thing you'll never, from him or from anybody publicly that is still with the Cardinals at least, get anybody to say publicly what happened with Mike Shildt.
You got to wait till Shildt retires.
But this is about as close as you will get to him saying, hey, wasn't just me going out on a limb and saying I want to fire this guy. Go ahead and take a listen.
I would position this as it's spilt milk in terms of what's happened. But, I mean, there were certainly reasons why we had to make that decision. And I don't feel like the public forum is still, bless you.
X and sneeze for those of you in your cars.
I didn't know what to do. So
it was very polite.
I just did the right thing, which just kind of fits in with the decision on Shildt. And I definitely feel like I get beat up over it.
Is that when you've had to kind of eat it and there's not a lot you can say
Yeah, I
publicly?
mean, legally, I was advised to as an employer, there's only so much you can say, and so I don't want to beat around the bush. I'll just simply say I know we had to make a decision. I believe it was the right decision. People can argue that they don't think it was, but I'm sure someday more of this will come out. Some of the people that work with me or worked under him might say some things as well, but to me, it's what's happened, and more importantly, I think Ollie does a really good job.
What'd you make of that, Alex?
I mean, look, anytime you bring up the legal advice that you're getting tells you that there's more behind the curtain that we do not know about. So, I mean, that was the biggest phrase that stuck out to me of him saying is like, I was legally advised not to say anything. And more people as time go on will probably come out and say what happened. There was more than just the Cardinals didn't like Mike Shildt and they needed to get, and they wanted to go to Ollie Marmol. This was something happened with Shildt, and I don't know what it was, that the Cardinals said, we got to move on from this. We've got Ollie. We'll go there.
I'm glad they finally acknowledge as much.
Yeah.
Because the guy was a good manager. I still think Mike Shildt is a good manager. Now I can disagree with some of the things that he did when he was here, and like we can go back and forth on all of this. But
Brandon.
Listen, man, he was clearly fired for a reason, and then they had somebody internally that they really believed in. This part is also true. They really believed in Ollie Marmol as a managerial candidate. Now they didn't know they were going to have to hire him at that point in time, but they knew that they liked having him here, and that's why they had continued to have him as a part of the organization. But I found it interesting today. He acknowledged a couple of things that have always been kind of the questions from the early 2020s. Mm-hmm. And he gave more today than I had heard at any point previously. So if you missed any of that conversation, be sure to check it out on the podcast page. It's all worth your time. 101ESPN.com, the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get to our football pick'em reveal from this week. T-Bone will talk about his Illini coming up in the 12 o'clock hour. We got to get our biggest audience for that. So we'll get into it coming up at 12 o'clock. By the way, if you want to just go ahead, show of hands. If your football team in college football is still 4-0 today, go ahead and raise your hand. Raise your hand.
Lindenwood's on a roll.
Raise your hand. All right,
T-Bone?
go ahead. T-Bone, I appreciate you. We'll go ahead and put our hands down now.
Raise your hand if your team got butt whooped over the weekend. Oh.
T-Bone, go ahead. Yeah, there we go. Happy to acknowledge
Congrats,
that.
buddy.
Coming up next, though, Lamar Jackson's
step.
issues
I
are
hate
the
you guys.
same as they ever were, and they were on full display last night. We'll talk about it here on BK and Ferrario. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK. So yesterday in the NFL, big Monday Night Football game, I had the Ravens. I did not see this one coming, Alex. I should have. It's Lamar Jackson in a big spot. Should have seen this coming, I suppose, but I didn't. And so we begin on that side of things. We'll talk about the Lions here in just a moment. Lamar did the thing that he always does. If you look at the bottom line results, Alex, 21 for 27, 288 through the air, 3 touchdowns, no picks, ran for 35 yards on the ground as well. Man, those are really good numbers. More than 300 yards of total offense for Lamar Jackson. And then you look a little further. Took 7 sacks for 55 yards, fumbled it once as well, and it's just a classic Lamar Jackson game. Now, his offense scored 30 points. They're not the reason necessarily why they lost the football game. But they're part of the reason why they didn't win the football game.
If we're going blame pie, I'd say 75% of that is Lamar Jackson.
And it's frustrating, man, because I think Lamar is a unique talent. He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. If you had to make me list the quarterbacks that I would want to build my franchise around, he's in that group of the 5 best in the league right now. But you get into these spots, whether it's a Monday Night Football game against the Detroit Lions or any of the playoff games that we've seen for the most part in his career. It's the same thing I said about Lenore Sellers coming off of the game against Missouri. It's these bad situational moments where you take a sack that takes you out of field goal range or your goal to go. Lenore Sellers had one of these over the weekend. 2nd and goal from the 5. Takes a sack that takes them out of real territory to be able to score on the drive. It's so frustrating, man. And you just want to go over there and shake him and be like, hey, man, you don't have to do this. Just get rid of the football.
Don't shake him.
Throw it, Lamar.
I think he's a unique talent. I love watching him play football, but there are moments where he just can't seem to get out of his own way. Even in games like this last night.
Yeah, I mean, it's a main reason why I don't trust the Ravens when it comes to talking about a Super Bowl, because in these situations, this is what happens with Lamar. Big moment, his mind is going all over the place. And Aikman was talking about this on the broadcast last night, to where they had the conversation with Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, and he said, it's like, look, sometimes you got to give to get, and the one thing Lamar does is he's always going to stay up, and he's always going to be scrambling to find something down the field. The problem with that, though, is if you're not aware of what's coming around you, and he is, because he can typically pick up yards and first downs for you, but you're also going to take those massive sacks, and in critical moments that are make or break for your team, that's where your team crumbles. And it felt like that last night. Multiple sacks to where the Ravens were trying to drive to tie the game up or take the lead, and he takes a sack, and it's like the air got sucked out of that offense. So, I mean, that told me everything you needed to know about Lamar. They're probably going to be great in the regular season, one of the best teams in the AFC. But playoff times, I won't trust them because that's Lamar.
All right, somebody on the text line said, here we go again. BK blaming Lamar for everything. Did Lamar play defense last night? No, he did not. And the defense wasn't good enough. And they've got to improve on that side of the football. I thought they were going to be better this year. And yesterday, the Lions took them behind the woodshed. It was really impressive stuff. We'll get to their side here in a minute. But a couple of situations. 2nd and 3, ball at the 47-yard line. This is midway through the 3rd quarter. Lamar takes a 7-yard sack. So then you're set up 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and 3 with Derrick Henry in the backfield, probably going for it on 4th down, by the way. So you have 2 more scenarios where you can potentially try to pick up 3 yards. No, now it's 3rd and 10. Lamar has to throw it incomplete. They punt, and at the time, it was a tie game, 21-all. Going into the 4th quarter. The Lions get the ball on the next drive. They end up scoring a touchdown there. That's on the defense. That's not on Lamar. It was a great kick. They end up having to go 96 yards. They do exactly that. All right, next drive for the Baltimore Ravens. They're down 28-21 in this spot. It's the early 4th quarter. You end up in a situation where it's 2nd and 9 from the Detroit 19-yard line. Guess what? Another sack. Lamar Jackson sacked for 4 yards. Now it's 3rd and 13. Guess what? Another sack. These are the kinds of moments where Lamar has to come up big, and instead he's shrinking and he's trying to do too much, and he puts his team into disadvantageous situations. So, yes, the defense has to be better. Also, it's an and conversation here. Lamar has to do more as well. So I think that sometimes we try to let him off the hook, and no, we can't do that. Man, if this was, I don't know, Jalen Hurts in the exact same situation, I feel like Jalen Hurts gets criticized for this stuff more often than Lamar Jackson does. Mm-hmm. And Jalen Hurts is winning these games, man. You look at it, what he did on Sunday, he came back in a big spot. He's the second most comebacks of 10 or more points in the last 3 years in the NFL. Everybody says the guy can't throw. He's seemingly throwing to come back in these spots pretty damn well, including against T-Bone's team.
We're not talking
So I'm gonna yes, give some criticism to Lamar Jackson because he's earned it.
Yeah.
He needs to be better in these spots.
in moments like this, they don't necessarily matter in the regular season. Like, they don't get highlighted as much in the regular season. Like, it's easy to look at last night's game and say, well, yeah, the defense was the reason for the Ravens' loss. But these are the moments in the playoffs that really matter. When you take your team from a potential of, like you said, potentially 2 plays to get 3 yards to try and extend a drive in a tie football game. Okay, well, you know what? If you're going to go up against, maybe not this year's version of the Chiefs, but years past of the Chiefs, I always said it, you have to play flawless football. Why? Because they're not going to beat themselves. And taking sacks like that, where you make it instead of 3rd and 3 because you won't get rid of the football, and making it 3rd and 10 and limiting what your play calling abilities are and end up leading to a punt, that's not perfect football. That is not good football. That is the kind of mistakes that the Chiefs don't make, right? Mahomes doesn't take that kind of a sack. When you play Josh Allen has gotten to a point where he avoids taking these sacks. That's the evolution that you've seen from these best quarterbacks in the league. And yes, Lamar is still a special talent. I totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
MVP talent. But these are the little details that matter once you get to the playoffs. You don't talk about them as much in the regular season, but when you get to the playoffs and you're going up against the other best quarterbacks in the league, you cannot be making these mistakes.
Track his sacks and fumbles. Those are the things that come back to haunt Lamar Jackson. He doesn't make many mistakes when he's throwing the ball in the air. He's not going to throw a bunch of interceptions. It's sacks and fumbles that get them into tough spots. On the other side of the ball in this one, Alex, the Lions, I had my questions about them after week 1. I think we all did. And we were all wondering, is this a situation where they're going to be missing their coordinators? Glenn going to New York, Ben Johnson going to the Chicago Bears. Dude, this is Dan Campbell's team. And he is still one hell of a coach. He got aggressive last night in the fourth quarter.
Loved it.
Goes for it on that 4th down. T-Bone absolutely hated it. They're up at the time 31-24. It's 4th and 2. They end up throwing it as well, which I loved. They throw it over the top, get the big play, and then find a way to win it on the very next play with that big David Montgomery run. That's Dan Campbell to a T, man. And this looked like the Dan Campbell Lions once again. They have not missed a beat over the last couple of weeks. They are every bit as physical, every bit as imposing as they have been over the last couple of seasons. Lions are still a threat in the NFC. I did not give them enough credit coming into this week. I will now start giving them the credit that they deserve.
Dan
again.
Campbell just proved that he's a top 5 coach in the league. I mean, without his coordinators, he had to shake some rust off in week number 1. Everybody gets a mulligan. But from there, I mean, Dan Campbell, he showcased, they're still vulnerable defensively. I thought they were good in that game against the Ravens, but they had missed chances, which is kind of the narrative for that team. Offensively, though, they're dynamic. And it starts with Dan Campbell, and it starts from there, goes to the coordinators, but it goes to the weapons. I mean, you got 2 legit running backs. You've got 3 receivers you can deal with, and your quarterback stays upright. So I was concerned after the first week because I was like, man, is the offense going to take a step back? But no, it's just the Lions are still one of the top 3 teams in the NFC.
Couple of pieces of news to pass along from the NFL as well. Looks like we're going to be without Mike Evans for a few weeks. That's not going to help with Alex's fantasy football
Mine's
team.
just done.
Giving up already?
Burrow, Evans, and Lamb.
A good manager would overcome injuries.
Oh, yeah.
Terry McLaurin
He's gonna
also
take care of me.
uncertain to play on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. He's got a quad injury that he's dealing with. And Ian Rappaport reporting that the Giants are making first-round rookie quarterback Jackson Dart their starter. They are officially benching Russell Wilson as they head into this week at 0-3. Jackson Dart officially making the start this upcoming weekend. Who do the Giants have this weekend?
think it's my
The
dad.
Chargers.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, no, it's the Chargers because I have Malik Neighbors, and I'm like, oh, cool. At least now you'll start at least getting the ball thrown to him.
Not the defense I would want to start him against. I probably would have waited a week and gone against New Orleans, but neither
what I
here
was
nor
thinking.
there.
Turns out that the Russell Wilson game against the Cowboys was a mirage.
It was about the Cowboys, not about Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it turns out Dallas actually has a terrible defense.
All right, he's Alex. That's T-Bone on BK. In 15 minutes, we'll get into questions and answers. But next, it's time for a football pick'em reveal. Oh, boy. Here we go again. Next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here to tell you about my friends DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, which is coming soon here to the Show Me State. Starting November 17th, you can create your DraftKings Sportsbook account here in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1st. As new Missouri customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, and when we go live on December 1st, place just a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we officially go live here in Missouri, you'll be betting with a sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who are doing pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals beat the San Francisco Giants last night 6-5. Game 2 of their 3-game set out in San Francisco is tonight. 8:45 will be first pitch. Andre Palante will get the start for St. Louis. Logan Webb will be on the mound for San Francisco. This Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. SEMALondoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Oh boy, here we go. Time for our football pick'em reveal. We do this each and every week here on BK and Ferrario. Normally we reveal it on a Monday, but T-Bone was out yesterday. He was too sad about his Illini and his Rams over the weekend, so took the day off yesterday. He's back in with us, though. Today we'll get into the Illini coming up in the 12 o'clock hour. Alex, we do this every week. We do 3 games each, 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. At the end of the month, we will see who ends up with the fewest number of points, and that person, of course, will go through our pick'em punishment. Through the first couple of weeks, it's Alex way ahead, me and T-Bone well behind, and that's kind of the way that it's gone thus far. So let's begin with our first reveal for the week. We'll start out with Alex's pick. Since he is so far out in front, it's really not even a battle anymore for who's going to win this one. Let's get to his 1 point play.
1 point play. T-Bone, I'm going with your Rams plus 3.5. They're in Philadelphia. I think this is going to be a very tight football game.
My 3 point play of the week is T-Bone's LA Rams.
Son of a...
Plus 3.5 on the road at the Eagles. I think the Rams right now are playing as though they are the second best team in the NFC. I think the only team that I can say definitively is better than them is the Green Bay Packers.
Joshua Carty has it blocked again. This time Jordan Davis, the big man, looks for the icing on one big cake. Eagles hang on.
You know, I get asked by my buddies a lot, like, why do you get so frustrated with BK? That's why. Anybody who denies the BKO, that's real. I would have won that if you didn't make the same pick as me.
Why does this happen to me?
That's ridiculous.
The Ravens lost in week 1. You remember that one?
Yeah.
No, we remember.
They were up in a way
We
that
remember.
no team in the last decade had lost, and then they find a way to lose.
We had the backdoor cover with, who was it, Kentucky against Ole Miss?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't. Oh, sorry.
I forgot about that one.
And then he comes out afterwards. He says, hey,
Yeah,
sorry
we knew.
about the cover. Lane Kiffin, literally in the post-game interview, hey, sorry about that to all the bettors out there. So in the first 3 weeks of this damn thing, the stupid thing that I shouldn't have even agreed to do this year, the Buffalo Bills collapse in historic fashion. Lane Kiffin apologizes to any of the bettors on the Ole Miss Rebels, which included me, by the way. And then this week, I think this is the worst one. Eagles, who were already winning, Alex, had a 340-pound individual block the kick, and pick the football up and continue running. They were up by 1. There was no need. The only thing that can happen in that situation is something that is bad. You've already won the football game. Once you block it, you win. Just drop. Just drop on the football. That's all I was saying. Jordan Davis, go down, go down, go down. He did not go down.
No.
He just continued to run and won the football game by 7. The spread, of course, was 3.5.
Yeah.
So I was in the middle of pregame.
Why does this happen?
I was in the middle of pregame at the time, and like I saw it, but I didn't realize that he went for the touchdown, and so I was like, I covered. And then Grant told me in the commercial break, and I was pissed off for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was a range of emotions for me as a Rams fan. My first reaction was, "Oh, that sucks. We just lost it. We just blew a big game." And then as I saw Davis, and I went, "Oh, wait a minute. I think BK had that at like plus 3.5. Go, big man. Go. You go. You see open grass. You go. You don't get that opportunity often at 340."
There was a sense of sweetness, though, because it was his 3-point play.
Yeah.
So I was like, as bad as it hurts.
Dude, I had counted it in the W column.
Yeah, we heard.
there you go.
We heard. Stop picking my plays then.
They're going for the field goal here. Worst case scenario, they cover. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario, I not only get the cover, but I also get to be right about them winning outright. Neither of them.
We need to have a mulligan. Anytime he picks one of ours, we get to change ours.
All right, here comes Alex's 2-point play.
2-point play, obvious in the NFL. The team, the Denver Broncos, guys, they don't look very good right now. Bo Picks out here throwing it like crazy. You know who does look good? The Chargers. So I'm taking the LA Chargers minus 2.5. Please do not pick this one as well. Do you have the other side of it?
My 2-point play this week is the Los Angeles Chargers minus the 2.5
I guess this is
points
great because I still win.
against the Denver Broncos. I love the Chargers this week.
Well, let me tell you, let's sweep this one because I've got the LA Chargers as my 3-point play
This is
for
great.
this week.
Got it. 23-20. Zero's on the clock. It's over. And the Chargers.
We pretty much hit that one.
Yeah.
We all thought it would be close. The 2.5 is what did it. If it was 3 or above, I wouldn't have taken that game. But 2.5 felt like a number that it was too good to be true. Yeah. I just felt like the Chargers were the slightly better team. They find a way to make the place when they matter the
almost
most.
blew it too. There were a couple of times where Denver had the ball, they just couldn't. It was empty possessions at the worst time.
Yeah, see, and I actually was more confident because of the Chargers' offense and the Broncos, and against that Broncos defense, which had really struggled. The Broncos defense ended up being okay in that game.
It was all right.
Yeah, fine would be the way I would frame it.
Yeah, they had a couple of big plays, especially with the pass rush. All right, so those are your first 2 plays, Alex. Missed on the Rams, but hit on your 2-point play with the Chargers. How did the 3-point play go for our guy, Alex Ferrario, this week?
My 3-point play, the one team that I am very confident in that has been bad and will be bad this year are the Carolina Hurricanes. They're at home.
Carolina Hurricanes?
Yeah, Carolina Hurricanes. Sorry, Carolina Panthers. I'm taking the Falcons minus 5.5.
Penix with time is intercepted. Shaw Smith-Wade takes it in. He never saw him, Alex.
No, he didn't. No, he
Alex
didn't.
never saw
Did you
him
keep
either.
that one on there? Oh, God, that one stung. You know what it was, though? Listen to it. I was way too confident on it. My first 2 weeks, I wasn't confident. I just kind of threw it out there, so that was my fault.
Yeah. Just a bad game all around.
Yeah.
Nobody can explain that one. I think everybody missed the Falcons going up against the Panthers. I think there were some people that were using them as a survivor pick this week. Divisional game on the road, those always make me a little nervous. I did not feel like you were at risk, though, of not getting the win. Maybe not the cover. Maybe it ends up being closer than you expect. But the Falcons against the Panthers, come on, that felt like an easy one.
That was brutal.
Alex has finished this week with 2 points overall, goes 1-2 overall, which gets him up to 13 points through the first 3 weeks of our pick'em.
I was looking at it and I'm like, man, I hate losing the way that I did this week, but it's like I did so well in the first 2, I could take an off one.
All right, let's continue along with my final pick. I got the Rams one wrong. I get the Chargers pick correct. So that was my 2-point play. Missed out on my 3-point play. Let's get to my 1-point play of the week.
My 1-point play, though, is also on the college side of things. Arkansas has had a great start to the season, and every advanced number says they should be favored by 1 to 3 points against Memphis. Memphis is a 7.5-point underdog at home against Arkansas. Go ahead and give me Memphis. I've got them plus the 7.5 points at home against Arkansas.
3rd and 8, and he is going to run it ahead. And look at the extra effort. Look at this effort by Arrington Maiden.
Hey, man, when you're right, you're right. And I had a pretty decent week this week. I got 2 of them correct. I got the Chargers. I got Memphis. I felt really good about that Memphis one. I should have made it a little higher maybe. But
Yeah, maybe should have made it a better play.
Well, the Rams, I felt good about the entire game. I still think it was the right side. It just didn't, sometimes a 340-pound man blocks a field goal and then
What are you
returns
gonna
it
do when
for
that happens?
60 yards for a touchdown
Davis.
to cover the spread.
Love you, big boy.
But I felt good about my picks this week, and, they mostly went my way. So I end up with 3 points. That one... Man, that 3-point play really hurts. But I end up with my 3 points on the week. That takes me up to 6 on the month. And now let's hear how T-Bone did with the rest of his picks, starting with his 1-point play.
My 1-point play, it's a rivalry game, and it's named after a platypus. The Platypus Trophy between Oregon and Oregon State. It is a huge line. It is a minus 34.5 spread for the Oregon Ducks, and I think they are going to cover that easily.
Moore to pass. Moore going deep. He's got Bryant. Gary Bryant. End zone. Touchdown Ducks.
This was a tough one, T-Bone.
Yeah, easy. I had the right read. I mean, they won by 34. It was really one drive. One drive by Oregon State that lasted, I think it was like 7 minutes.
And he opted
and they
to kick the
scored.
field goal.
Well, they scored a touchdown on it, and that's where it really comes down to those you can't have happen.
It was actually worse than that. I don't know if you saw what happened after that, T-Bone.
No.
Okay, so you didn't see the
I was
next
at
Oregon.
Indiana
This is
watching
the part
another
that
team
I'm
get killed.
referencing.
Oh, dude. Oregon had the football. 1st and goal from the Oregon State 3-yard line. Get stuffed on 1st down. Lose 2 yards on 2nd down. Incomplete on 3rd down. And they have a delay of game penalty. They were going to potentially go for it on 4th down. And then they end up settling for the field goal to put them up 41-7 instead of potentially going up 45-7.
And
1st and goal from the 3.
Dan
Lanning
Lanning
so
wanted
badly
it.
wanted to do it.
You saw it in his eyes.
Yep.
Okay, that is frustrating because I didn't even know that because I saw this was a blowout.
Yeah, dude.
Didn't look at it. No, I missed my spread.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching another team get killed.
This one would have been better.
That stings.
Yep, he had it. He wanted to go for it, and then that delay game, and then they just opted.
All right, so T-Bone had his 3-point play with the Chargers, missed out on his 1-point play with Oregon. Let's hear about his 2-point play.
My 2-point play is Miami, Florida versus the Florida Gators, another rivalry game. This line has moved down to 8.5, so I like that even more. So Miami minus 8.5 against Florida.
No mystery, pure power. They made it look easy. Miami finds the end zone for the first time in a long time.
That was
How
an
about
easy
the
one.
U? How about the U?
I told you after it, that was my 4th pick. If we had 4 picks this week instead of 3, that would have been one of
Should
them.
have used it. Should have used it.
What?
I didn't trust DJ Lagway, so.
So I'm safe. Because
Yeah,
I'm
you're
up
officially
7.
safe.
So, what do you have now, Alex?
It's 13, right?
13. Yeah, you
So
have
I'm
13. Yeah, you were
okay.
safe from punishment.
All right, I'm not going to make my picks this week.
Alex has 13 points.
Got the season-long one. though.
T-Bone has
that's right.
6 points. Or excuse me, T-Bone has 10 points. I have 6 points.
Dude, that 3-point play,
It killed me.
dagger.
It killed me.
You can still catch him, but you need him to be bad.
That'll be
I
Jordan
need him to
Davis.
basically only get his 1-point play. Because if he gets anything more than that, it comes down to a tiebreaker, and I truly don't know what we're doing for a tiebreaker, so we'll see.
Probably the worst
the
beat
number
you
of
win.
picks that we had correct. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But yeah, it's going to come down to
that 3-point
me
play,
getting all of mine correct, and T-Bone getting nothing more correct than his 1 point.
I forgot about the season-long punishment, though, so I do need to rack up some points right now.
Yeah, you got a good chance to really get some space on BK for the season.
Yeah, that's the 3-point play actually burns my rear too.
It's pretty frustrating. So that's where we're at right now. We will have our picks for the upcoming weekend on Friday. I think we're all in here all week the rest of the way, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any vacation
How
to use
about
anymore.
We're all actually going to be around now
Hockey
for
season's
basically
here.
the rest of the fall. So on Friday, we'll give you our next edition of the BK and Ferrario Pick'em Challenge. Coming up next, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers here on 101 ESPN. Hey, with Alex on BK, football is back. Underdog is the best place to select entries and win money all season long. You can play right now, even in the state of Missouri. Somebody asked me, by the way, Alex, the other day, hey, can I use your promo code in Illinois as well? Of course. Yeah, I was just mentioning because sports betting is legal in Illinois. It's not yet in Missouri, but you can play on Underdog. This is a skill-based game, and we're going to have some skill tonight. In the Cardinals game, I've got Logan Webb going lower on his 18.5 pitching outs going into tonight. I've got Andre Palante. This feels like a gimme to me. Higher on his 2.5 earned runs allowed. And I've got Ivan Herrera. He's on a heater right now. Higher than 1.5 on his hits, runs, and RBIs for tonight. That's my play. It's about 11-1 over there on the Underdog
Well,
app.
you heard how confident BK was, so that tells you need to put in promo code BKO because it will go well. You use promo code BKO and download the Underdog app today, and you score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Again, promo code BKO. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms_DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. We did get this news to pass along, though, in college football. Some big one. It looks like Oklahoma State has officially fired Mike Gundy. Alex, this was a matter of time.
I was going to say, isn't this like a long time coming?
18 years after his I'm a man, I'm 40 rant.
What a great rant, though.
He is fired as the head coach at Oklahoma State.
One of the greatest rants in all-time sports.
Easily. Yeah.
It's up there with, and I forget who he was, but the dude that meowed like a cat. That one is still one of my favorites.
What is that one?
That was a good one. I think we've got it in the system somewhere.
We're a bunch of dogs. We ain't a bunch of cats out here. Meow, meow, meow. Oh, God, it's golden.
I don't remember that one at all.
That one's good.
All right, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. From the 314, how many of these games do you think Mizzou will win? There are 4 of these.
All of them.
Bama, at Vandy, at Oklahoma, Texas A&M at home. I think they win. I would project 2 out of 4. I think they can get 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4 is my thoughts. One of the Vandy or Oklahoma on the road is the one that I think they lose.
Yeah, 2 would be like what I would say is the safe call on that. I can see the path to 3, though. Their secondary getting kind of picked apart makes me worry about Oklahoma and A&M because that A&M quarterback looks awesome. And then it just comes down, can they stop Pavia? Can Pavia pick them apart in the air? If he can, then you're looking at like 1 of 4, but I think they can win 2. Like they could beat Alabama and they could end up beating Vandy.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. From the 636, would T-Bone have been willing to consume some vegan hot dogs and wash them down with seltzers if that would have prevented what took place to the Illini on Saturday?
That was
T-Bone.
brutal. I would have done anything to avoid
Cactus lime?
Absolutely. Wow. I would have done anything to avoid being at that. That was brutal how bad that thing went south on the Illini.
From Well Endowed. Guys, how excited should we be about the upcoming Mizzou basketball recruiting class? Very excited. I mean, it's literally ranked number 1 in the country right now. So be as excited as you want to be. That's the kind of thing that if you get that kind of class, you can have legitimate Elite 8 plus aspirations as a program.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like,
so especially
be as excited as you want to be. You've earned it.
Especially after the last couple of seasons and like the hype. And then, of course, they've gotten there, but nothing else. Like, oh, yeah, now seeing all these 5-star commits. Absolutely.
Yeah. First year that they'll have like real expectations under Dennis Gates.
From the 618, guys, is it now unquestioned that the Cardinals should mainly be building around Mason Wynn, Yvonne Herrera, Alec Burleson, and J.J. Weatherholt as their position players? I think that's about right. Yeah. I think that's your 4.
Yeah.
Your core 4, if you will.
I mean, that's where they're at right now. And
different kind of core 4.
Unfortunately, they need to stop this winning, so they could go out there and get another guy to fill into that core 4 or core 5. But, yeah, I mean, this is it right now. This is what you've invested in, and you hope you add to it by acquisitions this offseason of major league players for minor league players.
Yeah, I think those are the 4 that have become the clear kind of success stories of the runway, and by becoming the success stories are the ones that you're, I guess, technically building around.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. Bet it or forget it coming up in about 15 minutes. But next, I want to hone in on the Illini and what took place with them over the weekend, because T-Bone did not have an opportunity to speak on it yesterday. We'll get his thoughts next here on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to tell you about my friends out at Classic Air Care. When it comes to your HVAC system, the company that I have been using since 2016 and a company that my family has been using since my dad is home to home. And it comes down to the technicians, it comes down to the customer service, but it also comes down to the ability to be helpful in certain areas for these HVAC systems. Because look, they're confusing, they're finicky, and you want to make sure you've got the right people coming out. And it's going to go out at some point. You're going to have to purchase a new one. Now, Classic Air Care can keep that bad boy running running for as long as you need. But when you need a new one, that's where the financing comes into play. And Classic Air Care has those options for you. The installations are super helpful and super simple. They make it that way over at Classic Air Care. So if you're considering a new system, they offer free estimates for Classic Air Care, and you don't have to have anybody come to your house. You could just do it online. You go to the website, classicaircare.com. You click on the tab that says Instant HVAC System Quote. You answer 4 questions. They give you a price right there in the browser so you have an idea of what you're working with. Plus, when you schedule it, the technicians are super helpful, can walk you through the whole process in and out on a weekend, and you've got your new system. Check out their maintenance agreement specifically in the month of September, which you don't have much longer to do to take care of that HVAC system. Call them today, schedule online. Tell them Alex Ferrario sent you at classicaircare.com.
With Alex and T-Bone on BK, we got to talk about the Illini. We did this a little bit yesterday, but it just didn't feel right without T-Bone being here to be able to discuss his team getting demolished on the road at Indiana, a game that T-Bone was in attendance for out in Bloomington. So
BK, the tissues are over there by you before he starts.
I know. He missed the game. He missed the show
they're
yesterday.
empty.
Yeah, they're empty.
Damn, T-Bone,
Missed
sorry,
the show
buddy.
yesterday
Can't talk
because
about
he
it,
was
man.
so sad about his squad getting crushed the way that they did against
man.
Kurt Signetti and the Hoosiers. T-Bone, what happened? Because you were confident in this team. You had bought in hook, line, and sinker, despite the fact that you had mentioned multiple times coming off of their games, there's some worrisome signs here. Western Michigan outgained them in the first half. Duke in the first half didn't look pretty. And then you went into this one, and you had full confidence that Illinois was winning on the road at Indiana. They lost 63-10, so can you explain to us what happened?
Yeah, so, sometimes winning is a powerful thing, and it will send your mind to do different things, and you kind of overlook all your flaws, right? Like I looked at the Cardinals in May and said, yeah, they can make the playoffs without striking out anybody or hitting for any power, and no, they can't. I think I just kind of fell victim to, hey, look, they found a way to get it done against Duke, right? They found a way against Western Michigan, which isn't saying much. It's Western Michigan. But Indiana was a different animal. And Indiana, we'll see if they end up becoming a playoff team or not. I mean, they look the part of a playoff team. Mendoza looks awesome as their quarterback. When you go up against teams that are in the Big Ten that aren't just kind of your cupcakes like a Michigan State or Northwestern, your flaws are going to get overexposed, and not just for a half, right? You mentioned the Duke game. Duke was able to expose the Illini's flaws for a half, and then Illinois was able to make adjustments. I think it's going to turn out Duke's just probably not a great football team in the ACC. You couldn't do that against Indiana because their offensive line, which I had mentioned after the Duke game, I even mentioned in the offseason when I said, boy, I don't understand the excitement around returning these 5 starters when I wasn't impressed with the 5 stars last year. They were terrible. The offensive line was terrible in the game Saturday. They couldn't protect Luke Altmaier. He ends up getting sacked in the game, I believe it was 7 times.
Yep.
They end up running the football for a total of 2 yards. And if you're saying, well, take away some of those sacks, what do the numbers end up being? Okay, well, your 2 running backs ended up with 29 total yards.
That's better than South Carolina over the weekend, so you've got that going for you.
Congrats, man.
They
South
lost
Carolina
too.
had negative rushing yards.
Yeah, but
in
at
the
least
game.
they were competitive.
When you can't do anything and you lose that battle in the trench there at that offensive line, you're going to do nothing as an offense.
But
and
we
then
knew that they weren't good at running the ball. That's not surprising. I was surprised with their complete inability to move the ball through the air.
yeah, I was too.
That speaks to their terrible
But-
offensive line, though.
I think what you saw there was Indiana and Curtin Signetti. God, someone hire that guy out of that school. Oklahoma State call. I think what he kind of showed you the path to beating Illinois. If you have a good pass rush, which Indiana did, they just dropped everybody back in coverage. For the most part of that game, they just brought 4. Every now and then they would creep up and bring a bigger blitz. But they sat back in zone coverage, man-to-man with 2 safeties over the top. Altmaier had nothing open, so he ends up holding the ball in the pocket. And even when he did hold in the pocket, just no time for him to just even step up and make a pass. And then defensively, I think some of it is explainable, but to give up the amount of points that they did was inexcusable. They're down a bunch in the secondary. I think Bielema said it's 5 of 6 or 6 of their 7 DBs left that game. Their top 7, 6 of the 7 were injured by the end of that football game. So some of that is explainable. One thing I don't understand, they never changed their game plan. Scott was out going into that game. Their top corner, all Big Ten conference player probably if he stays healthy all year. And yet they continue to run the same coverage of, hey, we're going to go 2 safeties over the top and we're going to go man across the board. And by the way, we're going to bring our linebackers in and do 0 blitzes. Okay, well, you can't hold up in man when you're down some of your top corners in this game. I didn't fully understand their game plan from a defensive standpoint, and then they never adjusted either. Mendoza continued to just pick them apart. Oh, you guys want to go man-to-man across the board? Okay, well, I'll take my number 1 receiver against your 4th DB.
So
It just never made sense.
Illinois hadn't played anybody yet, and we finally saw them get exposed once they played against a real team?
No. Tone.
That wasn't tone. That was honesty. You just didn't like it.
Is that what happened?
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's what it feels like.
Okay, you don't have to rub it in.
Yeah.
The salt is already in the wound. Don't press down on it.
So how much does this change your expectations? Because now you've got USC this weekend in what is effectively a must-win game. You said coming into the season, T-Bone, I'm not putting more words into your mouth. You said season is not a success unless they get to the postseason. In fact, I think you said it is a failure unless they get to the playoff for this upcoming year.
Oh man,
well,
he just used evidence in the past.
If you don't win this weekend, I don't see a scenario in which you get to the playoff. So how are you feeling now about your squad now that you have effectively eliminated all margin for error?
Yeah, I expect that their season's going to be written in the books as a failure. Now, some of that is somewhat explanatory. As I said, they're dealing with so much injuries defensively, but offensively is where the biggest disappointment comes. If you would have told me, again, 63 was a lot, but if you would have told me, hey, they give up 35 to Indiana and they lose that football game, it kind of checks out. The defense has dealt with injuries, and even moving forward, right?
Sure.
I kind of expect USC is going to pick them apart this week. It's going to need to be a shootout for Illinois to win, and I can't even imagine what Ohio State will score on them. But I think it's going to have to go down as a failure because the offense just does not look like what I thought it was going to.
Feels very 2024 Mizzou-y, doesn't it?
Yep.
This was basically your version of the Texas A&M game. You got exposed. You went on the road for the first time against against a conference opponent, at least. Duke is a Power 5 opponent, but not a conference foe. And you got beat, but worse. You got beat worse than Mizzou did last year at Texas A&M, and Mizzou got embarrassed.
It's too. Well, you don't have to laugh at the man.
It's so bad,
you don't have to
dude.
laugh at the man.
I should turn off his mic.
Oh, God, your squad got demolished, and you were in attendance on the road.
Oh my God, are we friends
Did
here
you
or
leave
not?
early?
Oh, yeah.
I don't blame you for leaving early. I would much rather get out of there and go drink for cheap than stay there and drink for expensive.
Let's see.
Did you drive home after? Or did you stay?
We drove
Oh, no. You got to drink your sorrows away there.
What is that, a
you
2-hour
couldn't.
drive
Yeah.
back to Olney where the
Yeah.
flying squirrels live?
Yeah.
Only might have been a
White
better
squirrels,
place to
not
be,
flying.
though.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. After they scored
Oh, man.
the second touchdown of the second half and made it 49-10, my dad looked at me and went, "You want to go?" And at that point, by the way, to just add a little cherry on top to all my suffering, it started to rain. So I'm in the rain.
Oh, God.
I'm walking out. I hear Indiana
You're just
fans
soaking wet.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
can feel the
the walk
squish
to
in
the
your
car.
shoes as you're going.
Yeah.
I just like
Indiana fans while you're walking down. Oh, don't be sad.
Dad
Don't
had
be
to-
sad.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, we'll see you next time.
I love these like
Family spelled with one L, not two.
the ongoing tweets from T-Bone in this game was like ILL Illinois #family, and then like 25 minutes later, Illinois Oil Line sucks. SUCKS. Goodbye playoffs. Terrible clock management by Bielma to end that half.
Brutal clock management by
And then he's
Bielma.
just silent. Ghosts the rest of the way.
We didn't hear from him the rest of the weekend.
Well,
And
we
then
did when he was
suddenly,
driving home.
Hey, my parlay didn't hit. Okay. Hey, I need 6 points tonight to be able to win this fantasy
T-Bone,
match.
words of advice: when your favorite team gets blown out, don't go bet to make yourself feel better because it never
it did
works.
work.
Unless you're using underdog #, our promo code BKL.
And the sad part was,
I was having the time of my life on Saturday night.
I
Alex.
could tell, man.
I was in attendance at the Mizzou game.
Don't have
It was
to
going
rub it
well
in.
for me, and it was going poorly for T-Bone. I don't even root at this point for like my teams to win so much as I do for T-Bone's teams to lose. It's the one thing that brought me solace on Sunday as I lose my 3-point play with the Rams getting the field goal blocks. I'm like, man, at least T-Bone doesn't get happiness this weekend. His
except I
squad got-
did because they covered. The Eagles did.
Hey, man, I would rather have the team win.
And me, I'm having the time of my life because it's preseason, and preseason doesn't matter.
Look,
So good.
there's nothing worse too. Like you walk into that, you walk in, and there was a decent amount of Illinois fans, but I mean it's a sellout crowd. It's 95% Indiana fans. And man, you're walking around and you're getting booed as you walk around. You're in the wrong section. You're in the wrong state.
I wouldn't have worn
Family
anything
spelled
Illinois.
with one L. Guy while we're in the bathroom, like slide's too long. Kick out the Illinois fans. Like the brutality. And then you're walking up to your seats again and you're being booed and you're thinking, man, I can't wait to walk out of here.
That's why I don't
with
wear a
a
jersey.
victory, or if not, at least give me a good game, right?
T-Bone, the text at the very
Man.
beginning of the game was like, man, I can't wait to talk trash to these guys.
I was so, especially because we had a guy that was really feeling it before the game even started, and you could tell he'd been tailgating a while. I was like, man, I really want to talk trash to this guy if we win.
I also loved it because T-Bone's dad was with him, and T-Bone texted us on Friday, was it? Saying my dad and I talked about our bets for the day. He asked me what the picks were, and I told him BK's play on Memphis, and he said, I'm fading BK. He's awful at this. So then also...
Well, he wasn't wrong in general about that.
No, correct. But Memphis gets the win as well. Oh, it's just a great
Randy's just
Saturday.
taking it out on the Hendrickson family right now. My goodness.
A truly fantastic Saturday for all involved.
I hope UMass beats Missouri.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons I can get it out this week. It's a good week to be able to
Look,
take
if
it
they
out.
don't, if they lose to UMass, then you should do this exact same thing. The hard part for
My
you
buy
is,
man is
hey
buy
man, you
UMass
missed
gear.
the chance to do this because
Real quick, for any of you feeling bad for T-Bone,
No, you should feel
get
bad
the
for
hell out of
T-Bone.
here. T-Bone gets plenty of his laughs off. You remember the Drake thing? Are we just forgetting the Drake thing?
oh no, hey
Okay.
man, you take it. I'm just
Don't
just
be
saying,
upset
man.
that I bought Drake
This hurts
gear.
on the other side when it comes back at you. So
I know, but I've been on that side plenty
Also,
of times. Now I get to show, because T-Bone's team has never had expectations on the football side of things.
yeah, T-Bone,
so
you
now
set
that he's
yourself
living
up.
the expectations life, you get to see what it feels like. It's not so fun, huh, big guy? A little different. A little different on this
You
side.
guys
of
will
the
get to join that conversation in basketball finally for a change.
Well, I mean, Illinois typically chokes in basketball too. So
Coming
They're
up
always
next,
competitive.
Better to Forget It here on 101 ESPN. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Bet It or Forget It. You guys give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are betting it or forgetting it here on 101 ESPN. Let's continue with the Illinois conversation here on BK and Ferrario.
ILL!
Guys, bet it or forget it. Illinois has at least 4 losses this year.
Oh, man.
Ooh, so basically every Big Ten matchup that they're going against a ranked opponent.
They've got 1. They've got USC this weekend, which could very well be 2. They've got Ohio State. I would assume that's the 3rd. And then potentially at Washington, maybe Maryland, maybe at Wisconsin. They stink, though.
Illinois, you mean they stink?
Sure.
I think even though we're all down on Illinois.
He can't get his words out.
Even though we're all down on Illinois, they should beat Rutgers, beat Maryland, beat Wisconsin, beat Northwestern, and Purdue. I think they could lose at Washington.
I'll forget this one. I think they're three losses.
I would bet it. I think they're 4.
Damn, man.
That Washington quarterback, that Washington quarterback can play.
Poor guy.
I think they're going to get just shredded. They're dealing with too many injuries in the secondary, and I don't know about the offense. We'll see. But
wow, ESPN, the FPI has it as a 73% chance that Washington wins that game.
Damn, that is high.
Wow. Man, your team stinks.
What do they have like the Rutgers game? Please tell me that's not
what do
like
they have? USC. USC better be like 100%.
That's like a 7-point line, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 6.5. I don't know where it's
6.5 now. 73% in favor of USC. The Rutgers game, 67% in favor of Illinois. That's at home, though. So
turns out Pat Bryant was
betting this, by the way, four losses this year.
I've changed my opinion now, but turns out Pat Bryant was pretty impactful.
Well, when your own line can't protect your quarterback, like how's Beatty supposed to do anything?
It's the same line as last year, though. That's the thing that I don't understand.
I said it was bad going into this year.
I know, but they won 9 games last year, and they were competitive in almost every game, including against Penn State, who had Abdul Carter. So I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Alex?
Ugly on this one. Guys, bet it or forget it. I was hearing Wayno talk today on TMA, and he said something about all the teams that win World Series have 3 big bats in the middle of their...
Never heard that before.
Never?
Anywhere.
Interesting.
Nobody's ever said that on this radio station.
Interesting. I can't tell what he's doing there, and it might piss me off. I'll decide at the end of this segment.
T-Bone has said that no fewer than 100 times on this show.
Okay, well, T-Bone's not Wayno. Just because he thinks he can hit a Ryan Helsley fastball, he hasn't won a World Series.
Couldn't hit it.
Now I'm already pissed off, so congrats. Bet it or forget it. The Cardinals have 2 of those 3 big bats already in their organization.
Forget it. They have 1. I don't know which one it is, but they've got 1 of the 3. I don't think they have a top 2... The combo that you need to be your 1-2 combo, I don't think that they have that currently in the organization. I think they've got, like, Herrera could be a 3rd piece. Weatherholt could be a 3rd piece. Maybe Burleson could be that 3rd piece. If it's very soon, maybe Contreras could be that 3rd piece. I don't think that they have a top 2 guy, though.
Yeah, I would agree. I would forget it. I think they've got maybe 1, and you almost have to squint to kind of see it. They don't have the 2, like, dogs. When I say dogs, I mean, like, we talk about you need a big 3 in the middle. You really need 2, like, just horses that are like 900-plus OPS guys, like a Juan Soto, a Pete Alonso. They don't have that. They've got guys that are, like BK said, the good 3rd piece, Herrera, Burley, above 800 OPS guys, not the top MVP candidate type guys.
I don't want to answer. PK pissed me off. T-Bone?
I swear it wasn't anything against you. I was giving crap to T-Bone, not you. I promise you. It was a good question.
Because I'm right? Yeah.
Okay, well then bet it.
No, I just think...
Not much crap. Bet it or forget it.
God, you've already pissed off 2 of the 3 on this show. Hate your guts, Brandon.
Yeah, you're going to hate yourself later, too, I bet.
No, he's good now. He's good now.
Alex said, nope, that's where I cut it off.
He's good now.
Guys, bet it or forget it. Miami is the best team in college football this year.
Forget it.
Oh.
No, I don't think Carson Beck is the best quarterback, which typically I could find that's the best team, so forget it.
I mean, listen, they got a good win this weekend against Florida, but also, did you see the offensive performance? They weren't particularly impressive.
The first half was a little...
Well, to be fair, I think Florida's got a good defense, to be fair.
There you go, Gator. T-Bone swinging in for you there.
Yeah,
defending those teams that get their butts kicked.
Okay.
I mean, your quarterback stinks, but...
Now he's resorted to. Okay. Won't even argue.
Okay, how about this then? Bet it or forget it. The winner of the Penn State-Oregon game is the best team in the country. You'll deem them as the best team in the country.
That I would be more likely to bet. I could... I could buy into that. I still think it might be Ohio State, but
yeah, I'm skeptical on Ohio State, but I always am, even when they won the championship last year. But I think those are the two best teams in college football, which is why I'm so excited to see them play against each other.
What's interesting is Penn State got the week off going into that game to help really prepare, too, so they could avoid injuries and get a little healthier.
So did Oregon, to be fair. They played a football game, but
they couldn't cover, though. And what do we say about teams that cover?
Great teams cover.
Yeah, I don't really know what to do with Penn
covered.
State because they haven't been all that good this year, but they haven't played anybody, so they haven't had to be good. They've done what they needed to do. They've allowed 17 points through 3 games. The defense has been awesome. The offense it's been Drew Aller has not been good so far this year, and like Penn State fans are saying they let the wrong quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I don't know. We'll see on that one. I think that this might be a season where there doesn't feel as though there's a true best team. There's just a lot of teams that on any given Saturday could win. Like, this is going to sound weird. You guys tell me if you disagree with this. I'm not sure the best team will win this weekend between Penn State and Oregon. I think it's possible that the team that wins on Saturday would lose if they matched up again.
Yeah, but I also think
later on in the season.
overreaction Saturday, the team that wins that game, people are going to say is the best team in college football. And I agree with what you're going to say.
No doubt. But like, if we get into the college football playoff, I won't have all that much confidence that one of those teams is significantly better than the other.
Why I love college football now when you have this wide open field.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
do you disagree with that sentiment?
Yeah, because it's
do you think
hard
the best
to
team
see,
always wins?
Maybe not always, but for the most part in college football, I think they do. I think if you match them up again in the playoff, like let's say Penn State loses and Oregon wins by, I don't know, 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
I don't expect then that all of a sudden Penn State's going to figure things out, because then what it means is Penn State probably wasn't as good as we thought.
Or like Ohio State last year lost to Michigan in the final game of the regular season, and then they dominated on the path to the college football playoff. You know, they lost to Oregon early on in the season, and then they beat Oregon by 3 touchdowns in the playoff. I just think sometimes weird stuff happens on a Saturday, man. And I don't think we give enough credit to that sometimes. That, hey, just like,
yeah, you're right. It was weird what happened in Bloomington this weekend.
I don't know about that. Well, you should start a podcast, man, of college football and call it Any Given Saturday.
From the 314, can I get BK's opinion on the Gundy firing real quick? Yeah, it had to happen. It had to.
And they want your opinion, and that's what you're going to give them?
It was
want
time.
deep thought.
He clearly was not into this era of college football. It wasn't working for him.
There you go, man.
Is that better?
Yeah, nailed it.
314-399-9646 is the Your Comfort Service text
Maybe
line.
Signetti.
I hope
Or
so.
better to forget it.
I hate that guy.
He'd be the guy that I'd call if I'm Florida. If Alabama makes a change, I don't think they're going to. They look like they're a pretty good team now. If Alabama were to make a change, though, like that's the guy you call.
He's going to be the next big thing to get out of Indiana and send him to a big school.
I wonder if he just stays.
He looks like he can build a playoff contender there yearly.
Yeah, talk about dominating a state, too. If you're great at what you do.
He's the most powerful person in the state.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I think that we have now arrived at a place in college football where college basketball got to probably a decade ago. Remember when Brad Stevens and Shaka Smart, they were both VCU and
Butler, right?
Butler. And they just built these programs that consistently were Final Four contenders or Elite Eight contenders. I think college football is now there where you can build your program up, and if you have the investment from your state and from your university, there's no need to leave, especially if you're at a place like Indiana or Missouri. Drinkwitz, I think, fits into this. You have the ultimate job security. Why would I leave for a place where the expectations go to here, and it's not that much easier to win? And I've got to take the time to build it up to where I'm already at wherever I am. I don't know. I don't think there's the same incentive to go to those big programs that there once was.
I mean, if I'm a college football coach, that's my mindset. I'd love to go to a big place and make that big money, but man, if I could get somewhere where I'm safe and the place believes in me, and even if I'm having a down year, they still want me here, that's the way to go.
Signetti feels different, and I because like I don't think like Drink, and maybe it's just because I've seen him more now that we cover Mizzou. But Signetti feels like a guy that feels like I can take any program and fix it. And I don't know that Drink necessarily gives that off. And that's not a shot against Drinkwitz. Signetti's very, like, he just was bragging today about Iowa's a tougher opponent. I mean, he's not wrong, but you don't have to say that at your press conference.
Remember his opening press conference when he said, hey, Google me. I win anywhere I go?
Yeah. I hope he goes to Florida.
He looks like an angry old man,
I
though.
hate him.
Like, he just walks the sideline like somebody's like a stick up his butt.
All right, 314-399-9646 is the Your Comfort Service text line from the 314. Bet it or forget it. Your show will be the next one to be replaced. Bet it.
Oh, forget it.
I mean,
You kidding me?
What else are you going to do? The Fastlane's been here since day one. TMA is a revenue-driving machine.
Yeah, but we're young and entertaining.
I'll take it. I appreciate
What
you
a
saying
depressing.
Yeah, why would you
question.
even bring that up?
that.
All of us have young kids, man. Well, not all of us.
399-9646 is
Some
the
of us are
Air
a
Comfort
young
Service text
kid.
line for Bet It or Forget It. Yeah, I mean, I hope not. I hope to be here for the rest of my life. So that would be ideal. Bet It or
Way to
Forget It.
sneak that one in at the
We're
end.
approaching quarter-4 almost.
John, Tommy,
Bring up such a depressing
I
thing.
want to be here forever.
Same. Trust me. Same.
I don't know. Brandon didn't really sound like it there.
Bet It or Forget It. Mizzou will lose to Vandy.
Hell, bet it.
No, forget it.
Really? That one makes me anxious.
Vandy can't stop Ahmad Hardy.
I don't know that Mizzou can stop Pavia.
Sounds like we're running up the scoreboard.
That's going to be an
Take the
entertaining football
over.
game.
Take the over.
It's something Gabe DeArmond talked about this the other day on TMA. The Alabama game feels huge. But if they win that game, they'll be 6-0, and then every game thereafter becomes even bigger. Like if you win the Alabama game, now think about how big that Auburn game is on the road. And think about what that means for the Vanderbilt game, which is on the road. And then think about what that means for the Texas A&M game, which is right back here at home. Every game just gets that much bigger. And that Oklahoma game on the road, by the way, into the season, whoo boy, that could be a big one. That could be a really big one. I mean, you could talk, depending on how good this Oklahoma team is, that could be for a spot in the SEC championship game. But we're getting out ahead of our skis here.
Yeah, you need to calm down over
A lot
that.
of big games coming up here for the
Let's see if they
university.
could just be the mighty Minutemen.
Just because you beat South Carolina. That's a nobody.
314-399-9646
No credit.
is the Air Comfort Service text line for Bet It or Forget It. All right, coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll dive into the junk drawer. But next, are the Blues starting to put together their NHL line combinations now? Alex is ready to read all the way into these line combos. He'll tell you about it next here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here, the Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals beat the Giants yesterday 6-5. Game 2 of their 3-game set in San Francisco is tonight. 8:45 will be first pitch. Logan Webb will get the start for San Francisco. Andre Palante will get the start for St. Louis. And in football news, the New York Giants making a change at quarterback as they're going to be starting rookie quarterback Jackson Dart this week. And in college football, Oklahoma State has fired Mike Gundy. The Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. SeaMilauto.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
With Alex and T-Bone on BK. So the Blues are out at morning skates today for training camp. I guess not even morning skates. They're at practice.
Practice?
They're at practice today.
Yeah, they're at camp.
The line combinations have changed, and they are interesting, Alex. Even to me, I find these line combinations to be somewhat interesting.
You're not going to throw me under the bus like always and reads too much into it.
Let's start out with the ones that I think are legit NHL caliber lines today. I think your top line is as follows: Buchnevich, Thomas, and Snuggerud.
Yep.
Your second line, as of today, is as follows: Holloway, Suter, and Kyrou.
Mm-hmm.
Your third line includes Neighbors and Shin, and today, Joseph is on that line. I think he is in a competition for that line, but we'll get back to that. Your fourth line today, the way that it is constructed, has Toropchenko, Sonny, and Walker on it. I think there's at least a chance that you see that in games this year. Will that be the majority of games? I don't know, but I think that there's a chance that is mini games.
Yeah.
All right, your other lines today: Lucic, Dvorsky, and Stenberg. That was a line with the B group. Texier, Bukestad, and Carbonneau. That was the line with the A group. So the 7 players that we brought up yesterday that are battling for that extra spot.
Yeah.
Joseph, Lucic, Dvorsky, Stenberg, Texier, Bukestad, and Carbonneau.
Yep.
All of them on 2 lines, and then Joseph currently with Neighbors and Shin. Alex, what did you take from those line combinations today?
Well, I mean, that there's 3 guys, maybe 4, that are ahead of the rest in terms of fighting for those final 2 roster spots. Like looking at, and Matt DeFranks of the Post-Dispatch put a good tweet out that paints this picture a little bit brighter. You know, he put the NHL lines that would be potentially in a game, and he had all the ones that you went through. Lucic, Dvorsky, Stenberg was on that. So 18 forwards, and there are going to be 14 spots for those forwards. Yep. To me, Joseph is probably the leader in the clubhouse of all of these because he's playing with Shen and Neighbors, which tells me they loved what he did in their preseason game, and they said, let's see more of that. I don't think he's a third-line winger, but that's where he's getting this chance. Texier and Carbonneau are the next 2 in terms of leaders in the clubhouse because they're playing with Nick Bukestad. And if either make this team, you're probably playing in a line similar to this. It's probably on the wing where Joseph's at, but maybe Bukestad's playing the center position and they use somebody else somewhere. But regardless, those 2 are the next tier down from Matthew Joseph. And then after that, you've got Lucic, Dvorsky, and Stenberg. And just because personal conversations and beliefs, I think Lucic is still in this conversation for those. So when I saw this, I said, cool, for the 4 roster or the 2 roster spots, it's Joseph, Texier, Carbonneau, Lucic, and then Dvorsky and Stenberg are probably on the back looking up. And it comes down to performance. And these guys, my expectations, you're going to see Lucic, Dvorsky, Stenberg probably play 2 more games. You're going to see Texier, Bukestad, Carbonneau probably play 2 more games. What do you do with it? Because Dvorsky was, in my opinion, not very noticeable in the first preseason game, and he was playing in an ideal situation. Stenberg was more noticeable than Dvorsky, but Stenberg hasn't even tasted pro hockey for more than 30 games. So I think those 2 guys are on the back looking up with a very low chance of making this team, which tells you Carbonneau actually is impressed enough to maybe make this team out of camp.
Waterloo dad Brad says, guys, what does it say if Justin Carbonneau actually makes this team? Wow. I still am skeptical that he will make this team on opening night. But I think it speaks incredibly highly of where he's at, that he's still in this conversation.
Totally.
He's still on a line with 2 other guys that have a real shot to be on the opening night roster. That's incredibly rare. And, like, for example, Stenberg and Dvorsky, now they're in different groups. Maybe that's part of this that's playing into it. But Stenberg and Dvorsky, they're with Lucic. they're basically on the outside looking in. And I think you can already see that. Lucic might also be on the outside looking in. We'll see. But I think that speaks very highly of where Carbonneau is at. And I think what it tells you is, man, they've got something here. I don't know if it's going to show itself this year, but Carbonneau's going to be a good player for the St. Louis Blues. They found something that you don't typically get at that spot in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, Curb said this on the broadcast Sunday night when they were playing Columbus and said, like, talking to people within the organization, the Blues expected Carbonneau to be gone in the first 12 picks. Like, they did not expect him to fall to number 19. I have no idea why he fell to 19, but he did. And so, I mean, I'm not reading too much into this like, oh, well, Carbonneau's overstepped Dvorsky. First of all, centers are incredibly more difficult to develop than wingers because centers just, I mean, there's a lot more to their game than just scoring goals. And Carbonneau has played 4 years already in juniors, where Dvorsky was playing 3 minutes a night in Sweden for a couple of years before he even got to pro hockey. So I don't think this says anything about Dvorsky. I think it says more about the steal that they may have found in Justin Carbonneau.
So with that said, though, Alex, it does bring up a question, and this is something that we talked about whenever we were discussing some of the future outlook stuff that The Athletic put out there. ESPN does this kind of stuff as well. Like, hey, who's going to be the best team in the NHL for the next 5 years, not just for 2025? And you look at the Blues, the way that they're currently constructed, I think this is a good team. How good, I don't know. We'll find out together, but I think it's good. One thing that they could try to do, whether it's this year or beyond, is package some of these 18 forwards that we just discussed to do like a 3-for-1 trade. You trade 3 of your prospects or an NHL-ready player in there as well for somebody that can legitimately slot in as a top-line winger or a second-line center, whatever that may be. How do you view what they have right now internally, whether that's Dvorsky, Stenberg, Carbonneau, some of these guys that are currently coming up through their pipeline as trade assets? Is that something that could end up being the case?
Yes, it is. They've got a lot of guys and few roster spots to play with. Like, the hard part for these projections of like how good are these teams going to be in the next 5 years is they don't take into account what trades a team can pull off. You're only looking at what these prospects amount to. And like, Utah's going to be up at the top because of where they've selected over the last few years. But like, if you look at, let's say 5 years from now, Buchnevich, Thomas, Holloway, Kyrou, Snuggerud, these guys are here. So your top 6 is already loaded with the exception of one centerman, which is where Dvorsky comes into it. But you've got Carbonneau, you've got Stenberg, you've got Pekarchik, you've got Stansel, you've got a lot of guys that play like middle 6 winger roles and potentially only one spot that they're trying to fill because you've also got Jake Neighbors. So somebody is going to get moved, and this is a total tinfoil in my opinion. But keep an eye on the development of Dvorsky because I'm not trying to downplay what he hasn't done at camp and Carbonneau has done. I just laid out why. But they need a second-line center to develop, and they're slow playing it with Dvorsky. But over the next few seasons, if Stenberg continues to develop faster than Dvorsky, I truly wonder if the Blues look at their roster and say, what can we get for a guy like this where there is so much expectation and potential that the other team doesn't see that we see? Because that's what they did with that Dominic Bach. They said, we don't think this guy's going to amount to much. Carolina thought it was something, and they traded Justin Falk for it. So it wouldn't surprise me if Dvorsky becomes a piece, if Lindstein becomes a piece, or if a Stenberg becomes a piece. But I don't see all of these guys making this NHL roster, which is why the next wave isn't one of these guys a part of the team. It's what do they get the Blues so that they put themselves into that consistent potential range.
He's Alex Ferrario. That's Tanner Hendrickson, and I'm Brandon Kiley. Blues back in action coming up this weekend. You'll be able to hear all of that right here on your home of the Blues 101 ESPN. They've got the Blackhawks in a big game coming up this weekend. Alex, you looking forward to that one?
It's a home game, so I don't have to watch it on a stream that I can only see 10% of the ice. So, yes, I am actually looking forward to it.
We will be back out at Centene tomorrow, correct?
Yes,
tomorrow
right.
And Thursday.
Tomorrow and Thursday.
On BK and Ferrario, so we'll be able to bring you some of what we're able to see on the ice, and we're hoping to have a couple of guys come through the studio with us as well. So be sure to stay tuned for that right here on 101 ESPN. In 15 minutes, we're going to get back to college football with the University of Missouri. They just keep finding ways to make plays when these games matter the most. And are we going to see a separation at the top of the SEC going into this weekend's matchup? We'll get into all of that coming up in 15 minutes. The Junk Drawer is next here on 101 ESPN. With Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. A little bit of an audible. Jeremy Rutherford's going to join us coming up at 1 o'clock. So be sure to stay tuned for that Blues fans.
He's hot on those line combos.
In 10 minutes here on BK and Ferrario. Alex, what do you have for us today in the junk drawer?
So, guys, there's some news circulating around preseason hockey, which I found pretty funny. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but the San Jose Sharks are in a new arena. It's still called the SAP Center, but they went from their older building to a newer building. Okay. So they brought all of the banners, and they hung them up in the new building. There's only one problem. One of the banners that was lofted into the rafters said President's Trophy Team 2015-2016 season. Everybody knows what the President's Trophy is, right? Mm-hmm. Best record in the National Hockey League. There's one issue. San Jose was 8th in the standings in that season.
What, this is like college football where you get to just say anything and make it go?
And maybe
basketball, too.
And, people on social media were like, well, maybe they misprinted. It was the year prior. It was the year after. Nope. The last time that they were the President's Trophy team was like 2007. And so people were wondering, well, who put that out there and said, we need to get new banners? President's Trophy Team 2015-2016.
So what happened?
It's still up there.
They haven't taken it down?
They haven't taken it down yet. Now, they played their first preseason game, so my assumption is they're getting it down.
Sharks have indeed. We have an update.
Did they take it down?
Yesterday. This is an update from 24 hours ago. The Sharks have corrected the banner that was recently raised inside of the SAP Center that celebrated an honor that the team didn't actually attain. The Sharks have refreshed the banners in their rafters in the upcoming NHL season. The new ones have a smaller team logo and a larger font, while the 6 division titles were condensed into one banner from 6 individuals.
So Curtis Pashelka, who's the beat writer for the Sharks, like he wrote the initial article when it went up because he was like, what the hell is going on? And I think one of the people in the organization said, like, yeah, it must have just been a misprint or something that they put out there. That's not a misprint. Like, you just didn't get a number wrong on the banner. You haven't won a President's Trophy in like 25 years.
What happened here?
I have no idea. Did they try and sneak one under the rafters and be like, hey, we won the President's Trophy in 15, 16?
But they weren't close.
They weren't.
Right, like if you were second, like, and you missed by like a point.
No, the Blues were the second best record in the or in the National Hockey League that season.
We're allowed to do just this. Cardinals should just put up a flag for the 2013 World Series.
Hell yeah.
Well, you remember the Predators.
Well, they should just put one up for 2020 or something. Just be like, hey, COVID champs.
You remember the Predators. What was that?
Doesn't matter if it's true.
A few years ago where they raised a banner that said they were like, they were the Central Division champ, like the runners up to the Central Division or something. And people were like, we're raising banners for just made up awards now.
Well, the Cardinals should put one up that's just best fans in baseball. Just a banner that says the best fans in baseball.
They already have one of those somewhere.
That whole section up in left field. Maybe just make one of those big, long, like flags that covers up a whole section.
No, it's like the concerts where you don't fill out the one part of the arena. It's just a big black tarp that goes over the top.
Tarp. That's the word I was looking for.
And it just says,
we got to cover up some of those empty seats because it's sad.
Major League Baseball's best fans in baseball.
Somebody on the text line said, still not as bad as when Illinois did the upside down banner for the jersey retirement. That was for
who was that? DeSuma? No.
Io? Yeah.
Io. Yeah, it was Io. For some reason, I was thinking Coburn, but I don't think that's right. I think it was Io. Yeah, that was bad. I forgot about that.
That one, somebody was fired. Like this one, you can argue it was a mistake. That one, somebody was fired. You didn't check to see when it hung up correctly.
Remember when the AD came out afterwards? He's like, yeah, we've got to make sure that we get that right. Yeah, you do.
No ish. Yeah, I just when Curtis put that out because I was doing the pregame and I saw that and I'm like, you got to be bleeping kidding me. And I had to check the standings because I wasn't sure if it was right or not.
Update from Major League Baseball: they will officially use the automatic ball strike challenge system starting next season. So I believe this is just the pure challenge system that we have seen in the past. We saw at the All-Star game this year as well. Rapid thoughts before we get to Jeremy Rutherford on the other side. Do you like that Major League Baseball is implementing the automatic ball strike challenge system? Not the full automated zone, but the challenge system where you get a couple of opportunities a game to challenge this.
I do. I think it'll be, after seeing it in spring training, I really enjoyed it, and I think this will be fun for the game.
It was Terrence Shannon, by the way, not Io. It was Terrence Shannon.
Was it?
That had
Man, they retired his jersey quickly.
Yep.
I like the automated ball strike system that they're bringing. I don't like the full system. I like having some human element, and then you can challenge a couple of calls.
I think this is great. I love them implementing it. Everything that we have seen from it thus far it's quick. They get these things changed rapidly, and I think this is going to be better for the game. Most of the changes that have been implemented, I think they get immediate pushback, and then after a while, people are like, you know what? Pretty good. I like some of these changes that have been implemented thus far. The only one that still gets a decent amount of pushback is the extra innings rule. That's the one to me that I think the most fans have a problem with. And even then, I don't think there is a cure-all for that. You want these games to end quicker. I don't know what the best case scenario is there. I still like the magic at bat rule that you can implement.
The magic
at bat rule.
Oh, is that the one where you just like bring? Ugh, gross.
That guy could go up twice in a row if you need him
just
to.
do a swing off to win extra.
I think that's exactly what needs to happen. That needs to be
Cardinals would lose
implemented
every
immediately.
extra inning game.
I think you play the 10th inning regularly, and then once you get into like the 11th or the 12th inning, you have 3 guys that each team sends up there.
Just makes me want to
and
throw
you get
up.
to have
Cute
a swing
that you
off.
think the Cardinals are going to make extra innings at all next season.
That'd be great. All right, he's Alex. That's T-Bone. I'm BK. Coming up next, Jeremy Rutherford joins us here on BK and Ferrario. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Can I read you a news story real quick, Alex?
Sure.
This is from college basketball. We're going to talk to Jeremy Rutherford here in about 15 minutes or so.
Talking Blues here.
Another audible. They just made Monty available. He's like, hey, listen, I've got to go talk to Monty. I'm so sorry. We'll get to him in about 15 minutes.
Had to go to talk to
We
him,
come
too.
first, not Monty.
This comes from the Santa Clara men's basketball team. Santa Clara men's basketball added another key player to their 2025 roster Tuesday in the form of Thierry Darlon. The 6'8" prospect, originally from Central Africa Republic, joins the Broncos from the NBA G League, where he was recently a member of the Delaware Bluecoats. Played alongside a couple of alumni, scored an average of 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists in 29 games for the Bluecoats last year. Guys,
He's not allowed in.
NBA G League players are now transferring into college basketball.
Yeah, no, G League
this
guys.
is where we're at.
G League guys aren't allowed back to college. You got to go. You got to stay in G League or go to college. You get one choice and stick with it.
That's amazing.
Unless Mizzou
it used
gets
to
them.
be like G League was where you go from college basketball. Now kids are going from high school to the G League and then transferring into college. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. It's just the latest reminder. There are no rules. Nobody knows what any of the bylaws are for any of this stuff. It's really incredibly confusing. I think college football just implemented now there's only one transfer session situation. I don't know how they're going to be able to actually litigate that. I don't know how long players have anymore for eligibility.
Bobby's going to play his full football career at Vandy.
This is amazing.
It's wild.
How many more years of eligibility can we get from Prabula and Ahmad Hardy?
They both have one more year.
Well,
Ahmad Hardy is required to come back for another year of school.
How about 3 more? We can do
great.
anything we
He
want in
never
college
needs to go
football.
to the
Yeah, they
NFL.
just stay at college.
Yeah, Prabula has at least one more year, and Hardy next year will be a junior. So he is not even NFL eligible until after next season. So that's the update on
God bless college
basketball side of things. All right, so Alex, yesterday I was listening to some of the post-game stuff from the South Carolina head coach. And T-Bone, we have this audio in our system for today. And Shane Beamer was talking afterwards, and he was going through everything that went wrong for South Carolina, why they ended up losing that game against Missouri. And he does the thing that Shane Beamer does where he takes some accountability and then says, well, we were close. And I want you to take a listen to this because I think there are a lot of lessons in what Shane Beamer had to say after this game against Missouri.
The second to last drive on offense after the defense stopped them and we got the ball back. I mean, it was 3 plays and we there's opportunities there to make plays. We ran the quarterback. We ran the quarterback counter into the boundary and we don't block the corner or the safety. And which is just, it can't happen. And then second down, I think we throw a ball down the field and we stop running. And then third down, we got a guy wide open across the middle, and we're not able to connect. So we talked about it. I mean, when Kansas came here, Kansas in the fourth quarter, they had a drive, and they had opportunities to make plays, and there was a third down over on the visiting team sideline where they got a guy wide open, and I don't mean to knock the Kansas guy, but they didn't convert. And we showed the players that tape on Tuesday morning that when you're on the road in the SEC, you've got to make plays, offense, defense, and special teams, and we did not make enough plays tonight.
You know
Alex,
who made enough plays against Kansas? Mizzou.
For sure. That's the game, man. That's the game. I'm looking at Bill Connolly, one of my favorite writers for college football. He writes over at ESPN.com. He does a bunch of projections. And he has Missouri's schedule laid out and what his projected final margin is for each of the games coming up. So for this weekend, his projected margin for Mizzou versus UMass is 53. he thinks that Missouri will.
They're going to have to make some plays.
Yeah.
UMass is. They're going to pull this one off.
But then after that, here's their upcoming margin of victory or defeat against the following teams on their schedule. Alabama, -3. Auburn, by 3. Vandy, a literal pick 'em. 0.1 is the current projected margin between those two teams. Texas A&M, 5. Mississippi State, 9. Oklahoma, 4. Arkansas, 3. The only game that he has as a greater than 1 score margin is against Mississippi State. Hey, Shane, this is how it works, dude. It's going to come down to 2 or 3 plays over the course of a game in most of these games that you're playing against your peer programs. And so sometimes I'll see things written about Missouri where they've got the horseshoe firmly implanted in their you-know-what. It's like, yeah, that there's some truth to that. Some of this is just good fortune. Some of it is they make the plays when they matter. Luther Burden comes up with a fourth and 13 against Florida, and Florida never makes those plays. For 3 years now, under Billy Napier, they find a way to lose those games. They lose it against USF. They lose it against Missouri. It doesn't matter who's on the opposing sideline. They find a way to play down or up to their competition, and then they lose in the end. For Mizzou, it's been the opposite. I think it's 25-5 in their last 30 games. How does that happen? Because you make winning plays when those plays are needed to be made. So I agree with Shane Beamer's analysis there. That game was close. It could have gone either direction. But what I will give Eli Drinkwitz a lot of credit for, and what I would criticize Shane Beamer for the most part in his tenure at South Carolina, his teams haven't made those plays. Drinkwitz's teams have. And that's the difference between going 9-3 or 10-2 in the SEC and going 7-5 or 8-4 in the SEC and consistently feeling like you're a couple of plays away from getting right on the other side of it. That's it. It's not this like grand scheme of things, greater recruiting, anything. No, man, it's a couple of plays here or there. That's the difference between these two programs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference when you're in that middle group where you're not the elite of the elite when it comes to the conference, but you've got to find ways to win in those small margin. And it's not just this year. I mean, you've said it in the past. Like, Drink seems to be the king of winning in tight football games because you make the right decisions, but it's also the players on the field. This goes back to the Lenore Sellers conversation. You can sit there and say we were close plays here and there, but the play that was probably the biggest was your quarterback taking a terrible sack in a moment that you can't afford to take that. So you're not blaming the coach for that, and the player is still learning with this one, but I hate taking credit away from a team when they find a way to do the little things right and say, well, we were that close. That's great, but the reason you lost was because that team did we were that close better than what you pulled off.
Look at the Blues. Blues were that close. I mean, they were literally a second away.
We don't have to bring that up again.
From going to the second round of the playoffs. But that's the margin.
Yeah.
That's the margins once you get to a place where you're right there with another team. One team makes the plays and the other team doesn't.
Yep.
That's it. For Illinois, they've been so close in some of these games, man. You go back a couple of years. Now, I think they got jobbed in the game, but the game against Michigan, they're right there. They're right on the cusp of pulling off this huge upset. Penn State last year, they're right there. They're right there with them. But they didn't quite find a way to get on top. Hell, to be fair to South Carolina, Mizzou last year, right there against South Carolina, couldn't quite find a way to make a play in the very end of that game. But that's college football.
Yeah.
And we're going to see it once again this weekend. This weekend is a potential separation weekend, both in the SEC and in the Big Ten. On the Big Ten side of things, T-Bone, your team's playing what is as close to as you can get to an elimination game at this point in the season. If Illinois loses that game at home against USC, and right now they're a 6.5-point underdog, it's hard to imagine a scenario where they can find a way into the college football playoff this year. That's a big one.
Yeah.
You continue.
No thoughts on that, T-Bone?
Well, I thought he was going to go to the other game.
I was going to say no deep analysis.
If you want some quick thoughts on it, like, he's not wrong. Like, you lose to USC, it makes the Ohio State game a must-win. And good luck against the Ohio State.
I said it yesterday. I kind of feel like they're already out of the playoff conversation.
Whoa.
Sorry, man.
Everybody has bad days.
Indiana's going to be 10-2. If you get to 10-2, guess what? Indiana whooped your butt.
LSU versus Ole Miss.
By 50.
Huge game this week in the SEC. If LSU wins that one, they feel like they're in control of their own destiny at that point in time. Ole Miss, on the other hand, goes from playing LSU this weekend to, all right, you got Washington State. And then the next 2 weeks after that, on the road at Georgia, on the road at Oklahoma. That could be a 3 out of 4 week losses, and boom, you're done. Season goes off the rails just like that. Later on in the day, you've got a game where Oregon is playing against Penn State. That could be the kind of game that decides who ends up with the bye from the Big Ten. Bama versus Georgia. Alex, this could be a situation where Bama, much like for Illinois, is effectively eliminated from the college football playoff or something very close to that. Mm-hmm. And we're 4 weeks into the regular season, and suddenly you're going to start hearing more and more conversations about the future of their head coach. So, huge weekend. There are a lot of teams right now. We asked this question before the show today. Hey, who do you feel better or worse about in the college football playoff compared to what you thought you would coming into the season? The answer is really not a whole lot has changed. This weekend is when that changes.
Yeah.
Week 4 is where you start to see some separation.
Yeah, you see some of the teams that you've been believing in that it's like, okay, can we please be done with this? And how do they keep getting this high of rankings in the AP poll? But then also, like we talked about the Big Ten matchup a little bit ago, gives you at least a little bit more of an idea of who the best teams are in terms of Oregon or Penn State. You'll see Georgia go up against Alabama, and I think everybody in the SEC is probably looking at Georgia as the top dog. And okay, is it a tight game against Alabama? Does that shift your opinion? This is the week that it's like you're glued to the television, and then afterwards I feel like there's going to be a lot of overreaction Sunday to college football on Saturday.
The other thing with this, and T-Bone, I'm curious your thoughts on it, some of these teams I just haven't seen play anybody yet. Now, I would even include LSU into this category because we now know Clemson was a complete and total fraud. So that was supposed to be the big game early on in LSU's schedule. They barely found a way to win that game. It was close against Florida as well. Is LSU as good as we thought they were? Or did they skate by in a couple of close games against teams that we now know are not very good, and they're going to be exposed now that they're going on the road to play against Ole Miss? Is Ole Miss as good as we think they are? Because so far their resume is basically, hey, we beat the hell out of Tulane, but other than that, 1-score win against who is maybe the worst team in the SEC this year against Kentucky, and a 1-score win against Arkansas, who just lost this past weekend against Memphis. So that's going to be a fun one to find out. All right, where are these two programs at, especially relative to one another? The Alabama game, I think, is going to be incredibly telling. Georgia, I think we now know, is good. How good, I don't know, but I think they're good. Bama, I still have no idea.
Yeah.
Is Bama good?
And add in A&M. You know, they've looked awesome. They play Auburn, who gave Oklahoma a pretty good fight.
Yeah.
And I'd argue Oklahoma's been the most impressive team in the SEC to this point so far. So,
and Auburn got jobbed in that game.
Yeah, I saw the whole.
The refs screwed that one up big time.
Yeah.
And I think A&M's legitimately good.
I do too. I think they are, but I think you're spot on. I think this is the weekend where you're going to see potentially, okay, are these teams that we think are good kind of give you that kind of vote of confidence? And I would also warn of this, to Alex's point of kind of it becoming an overreaction Sunday following this Saturday's games. The way that the SEC is going to play out this year, I don't think like you can suddenly look at Georgia, even if they beat Alabama and go, okay, they're a lock to be the SEC team, because I think the SEC is as deep as it's been for a couple years, because I don't think there's a great team. Even if Georgia beats Alabama, I'm not sure, unless it's just in pure dominant fashion, that I will look at them and say that is a great football team.
That's what I meant by it, because if Alabama keeps it close, I'm not going to look at Georgia and say you're a world beater.
Agreed. I do think it puts them into the playoff most likely. Because the rest of the way, like, they've got a schedule that just sets up to potentially be able to get in. They've got Kentucky still on their schedule, Florida, Mississippi State, Charlotte, Georgia Tech. Their toughest games remaining, both are at home with Ole Miss and Texas.
Yeah, so you're looking at maybe a one-loss team if they beat Alabama.
1 to 2 maybe, and even 2 losses on that schedule with their resume, you probably end up getting into the playoff coming out of the SEC. So that's what it would tell me. The other game that I'm really interested in this weekend, it's a great college football weekend, so I'm personally, just selfishly, I'm really excited that Missouri plays to nobody. Sorry, T-Bone. Because I get to watch all of these instead. Washington versus Ohio State. Washington's got a stud quarterback. And I don't know how they'll match up against a legit opponent, but they're at home taking on Ohio State. I'm pretty damn sure that Ohio State is good. We're going to find out exactly where Washington belongs in all of this as well. This is the week that we start to find out. We'll start to find out something real on some of these teams. By the way, have you guys seen the Notre Dame line against Arkansas?
That's a lot lower than I would have thought.
Yeah, it stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, a lot of these lines kind of stand out to me. Like the Georgia Alabama game, Georgia 2.5. I would think that would have been like 6.5.
Georgia's at home. That means that they're effectively a pick'em game on a neutral site.
Which I find surprising because Georgia's beaten Tennessee. We saw Alabama in their one like legitimate contest. Sorry, Wisconsin, get destroyed by Florida State. I'm surprised at that line this weekend.
Have you seen the Ole Miss line?
I think it's low too.
Can you guys guess it?
Isn't it like LSU?
Ole Miss is at home against LSU, 2:30 kick on ABC. It's the big game of the week in the SEC.
Isn't it like LSU -1.5 or 2.5?
Like 2.5.
It's Ole Miss -1.5.
Wow.
Yeah, and see, that's a little
LSU.
surprising.
Yeah, some interesting lines this week in college football.
I'm not taking a college game in my pick'em.
This is
really
a week where
I really like USC -6.5, but I'm not going to do that.
I'll be staying in NFL as usual.
I'm not going to do it.
You're totally going to do it
for them.
Oh, never mind. I feel better about it. Illinois plus the point.
Take it as your 3-point play.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
1 point maybe. I might take Mizzou. What's the UMass line?
Oh, God. Like
Please
40
take that
something.
one as
43.5. Oh, that might be too much.
I think I would take Mizzou. My fear is
They don't play
they're
any
going
other
into the
nights.
bye, so they might just start the bye early for some of these guys, and then by the second half, you don't see any of
They'll
their
be up by
starters in there.
44-0 by half.
God, the Ravens are a 2.5-point favorite at Kansas City. I so badly wanted to bet that game, and then now I see the Ravens. They're both 1-2, both backs against the wall. Woo! Chiefs are going to be a home underdog in 3 consecutive home games.
Man, your team stinks.
Yeah.
We're an underdog at home against Philly.
They need some weapons
Underdog
back.
this week at home against Baltimore, and then the next time they play at home is 2 weeks from now against Detroit, and they'll almost certainly be an underdog in that game because that's prior to Rashee Rice's return.
Were they coming back this week?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I'm not positive on that. I thought he was coming back last week according to all the reports, so I don't know.
Tough. You know, I think we just call it quits on the pick'em for this month.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you're in last. I don't know if I would agree.
No, I think we just suspend it.
No. I would say we just cut off the standings and we serve the punishment.
I
now.
like this part because I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, coming up in 15 minutes, we're going to talk to Jeremy Rutherford. Apparently, they have lost Jim Montgomery,
We lost him.
They're going to try to find Monty as soon as humanly possible. We'll try to find JR as soon as humanly possible as well. NFL Quick Hitters next here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, you got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN from the 618. Brian in Illinois. Here's a funny take. BK is going all in on picking on T-Bone. Borderline getting carried away. I think you may have forgotten CD is also an Illini fan and alum. No, I did not, sir or madam.
I think BK's okay rubbing that one in, too.
Yeah.
After the Kansas debacle when everyone said that Mizzou didn't beat anyone, I think BK's okay rubbing that in.
I still don't think they beat anyone.
I will get plenty of crap, I think, today on the Fast.
Neither did Illinois.
On this. They haven't reached out, so I don't know.
You're getting shot today.
Yeah, twice.
Ooh, man. 2 out of 3 weeks, buddy.
Yeah, it's not great.
You think
It didn't go my way.
Why are you getting mad about it? You're the one that picked it.
Hey,
I realized when I was saying it, I was like, why am I getting mad at Alex? It's his fault.
You're the one that picked it, man.
just like Shane Beamer says, man, you got to make plays.
I looked over and he was looking at me. I'm like,
He's like, yeah, dude, you're right.
I actually think we went through the pick'em, and I told you the opposite on a couple of them.
Missed the Packers game.
You and
Long way
America.
away.
I was going to say everybody lost that one.
Missed the Bengals-Vikings game. I should have seen that one coming. That's just a bad job.
Oh, really?
I think I would have been on the Vikings.
Flores versus the backup quarterback. I screwed that one up. That's on me.
Wentz versus...
I had the Patriots at home against the Steelers.
Okay, I had that one
Whatever.
wrong, too.
I had the
think I just used that
Rams.
one.
Still feel fine about that pick.
Yeah, that one. I mean, even if you didn't pick the Rams, like that could have gone either way.
I had the Raiders against the Commanders.
Same.
I liked them because the backup quarterback.
I had the Commanders on that one, and I didn't like Vegas's team.
I had the Falcons against the Panthers along with the rest of America.
I can't deny that one.
And I had the Cowboys against the Bears. Bad job by me. I underestimated how bad that Cowboys defense was. So, and then I missed the Cardinals. I had the Cardinals over the 49ers. Backup quarterback again.
I accept your apology.
And I missed yesterday the Ravens against the Lions.
That one I would have told you Lions.
50-50 proposition.
Yeah, really, I don't know that there's
Jamie
one that I really
crushed
like
it this weekend. He got 13 out of the 16 games correct.
Dang.
He was awesome.
Good for him.
He was great. He carried us to victory. I was less great, and thank God for Riz being the worst.
Riz, what do you get, 6, right? I think you did a good job last week, though. So
I was great last week. Carried the team.
Yeah.
This week I just allowed them to carry me.
Broke the team.
Yeah.
I just don't know why he got mad at me, man.
I know. I'm sorry.
Just projections.
He gets mad a lot.
Yeah.
Got mad in the office earlier.
I didn't. T-Bone was.
I was poking the buttons, and I think I pressed the wrong button because he was angry. And I'm like, decombust, alert. All
right, let's get into some NFL quick hitters here before Jeremy Rutherford joins us on the other side. The Giants are benching Russell Wilson in favor of Jackson Dart. You think this changes anything?
No. I think maybe they're a little bit more competitive on the offensive side because Russell Wilson's throwing balls at the field goal posts, and Jackson Dart actually can hit his targets.
What was that? Did you guys talk about that on
so
Monday?
bad.
That was when I turned the game off.
Wasn't it like on 4th down? He's like, all right, I'm going out of the end zone.
I think he thought Jimmy Graham was back there in the end zone. But, I mean, I think, you know what, Jackson Dart is at least a little bit more competitive. Maybe you have your offense uptick. Your defense is great. At least you can look towards the future and stop denying the terrible spot you're in with Russell Wilson as your quarterback.
Agreed.
I think just fired Dable already.
It's unfortunate, man. I don't think he's a bad coach, but he's been in such a bad situation.
I mean, now he hasn't
helped his case.
He's got some at least weapons now. Like Scadaboo looks like he's going to be fun. You've got neighbors, and if you give yourself a freaking quarterback, he's lived with the Daniel Jones pre-Indianapolis, and now Russell Wilson.
All right, another injury that we have to talk about. Mike Evans expected to miss 3 to 4 weeks with a left hamstring strain. So if you are somebody that owns him in fantasy football, not great for you. However, on the real football side of things, does this matter? I still think that the Bucs, I mean, they're 3-0, so they're off to this good start. They've got Philly this weekend. That's tough. On the road at Seattle, again, pretty tough. San Fran and at Detroit, if he ends up missing the full 4 weeks that they're talking about right now. I wonder if they just sit him out for 5 to 6 because they've got New Orleans on the road and then a bye week. You just get him fully healthy and then get him going for the second half of the season, maybe. Does it matter to you, Alex, that he's going to miss this amount of time?
It doesn't, because you want him healthy at the best part of the season, which is what they're doing. My only concern is, like, the Buccaneers defense has not been very good early on. Like, they have allowed every team to be in this football game, and you've needed literally Baker Mayfield to carry you. You don't have Evans. You've already haven't had Godwin, and Igbuka's basically on one leg right now, 3 weeks in. I mean, you've got to at least remain 500 without these guys, but I mean, you get Evans back, and the division that you're in literally allows you to still be one of the best teams, because I'm not buying into the Falcons after that disaster from last week.
I think if you win 9 games, you probably win the division. The next 2 games for the Falcons are against the Commanders and the Bills. They probably lose both of those,
even with
Evans. 1-4.
Evans.
So now you have, a 3 or 4 game lead in the division already at this point in the season. I just don't know that it matters. It's a big deal for the NFL and certainly for fantasy football. But for them making the postseason, I don't think it changes much.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I had my concerns when they lost Godwin. But, I mean, Baker Mayfield looks like he's going to make his wide receivers better around him. And they can lean a little bit more on the running game. Bucky Irving's a solid running back. I think you're right. And I think because you've gotten such good cushion so far with your start, yes, I agree. Their defense does need to be better because they are kind of living on the edge right now. I think they're going to be fine, though. I'm with you. I think they're still going to be a playoff
Nobody's
team.
pushing them in that division.
No.
I agree. When you look toward this week, Thursday Night Football, Seahawks on the road at the Cardinals. Have you guys looked at the line? If you haven't, please don't.
God, I don't even talk about a miserable game for Al Michaels.
Have you looked at the line yet, Alex?
No.
Cardinals are the home team. Thursday Night Football. What do you think the line is in this game?
I got to think the Seahawks I guess it's a home game, though. I really feel like this is favoring the Seahawks even on the road. So I'll say Seahawks 2.5.
I was thinking Seahawks minus 1.5.
1.5 exactly.
Wow. Is it in Seahawks too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's because Vegas believes that the Cardinals are a joke.
Dude, the Seahawks, I'll give them credit. Their defense can play, man.
I thought it would be more than that. Arizona's been bad. At some point, don't you have to show us something?
Yeah. Because you mentioned how, boy, you got it wrong on the Cardinals against a backup quarterback. I mean, Kyler, backup, question mark?
I always resort back to they scored 3 points against the New Orleans Saints in the second half and almost lost that game.
They won that game by a score. They won the game against Carolina by a score, and then they lost against Mac Jones without Nick Bosa, without Brandon Ayuk, without George Kittle.
Hey, the 49ers are the 3rd best power ranking team right now in football.
Without Jennings.
Yeah.
And now Arizona.
How is that the line?
Yeah,
it should be a 4-point line
Arizona
in favor
doesn't
of
have
the Seahawks.
Connor.
Yeah, Connor's done for the year.
Which might be good for them, though, because that other running back, Benson's supposed to be the bigger piece for their team.
Yeah, I would love can we do the pick 'em on Thursday? Because I would love Seahawks minus 1.5.
Do you guys have a survivor pick yet this week? Team that you're looking at, you're like, I have 100%. If you have the Bills, I mean, I
think that's the one I'm leaning towards.
Home against New Orleans, that's about as good as it gets.
And if you look at the Bills' schedule, I don't know how much I'm going to use them over the next couple. I guess you got the Patriots and Falcons. Never mind, that schedule's a little bit more open. I thought I looked at that wrong. Who was I going to go with? Because there was somebody's schedule who the next 4 weeks were brutal, and I'm like, well, maybe I need to take them right now. Was it the Rams?
I would go Chargers. Chargers at the Giants. Look, Jackson Dart, that's nice. It's a cute story. Look, it's exciting. He's in there. Dude, the Chargers are just a better football team.
I think I might go the Packers. I know they're on the road. They're in Dallas, but they're going to be pissed off after what they did. They're in Dallas for Micah Parsons.
Denver at home against the Bengals is another one that's interesting.
I just don't.
I don't trust. Denver scares the hell out of me.
Broncos, I mean,
that scares the hell out of me.
Yeah. We're getting to the point in the season where you have to take teams that are like beyond the top 5 here pretty soon.
Maybe I'll take the Ravens. That seems like an easy win.
Who are they playing?
For those that don't know, the Ravens are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend.
I was like, Alex is trying to get under my skin again.
Well, I mean, if you look at their schedule, they got some tough opponents after the Chiefs. They got the Texans, they got the Rams, the Bears, the Dolphins. This seems like the cupcake.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Ravens not a bad call.
From Who's On First, after BK's recent performance, take whatever he says with a healthy amount of doubt.
True.
Fair. That's straight up. Against the spread, I've been mostly fine.
So
it's
far.
just like right on a razor's edge.
So far, BK and I 3-0 in our Survivor plays.
Yeah,
T-Bone lost his first one.
Survivor's a little different.
Second. There's my second one that I forgot to submit.
By the way, we're doing great in Wayno's Fantasy League.
Yeah, we are.
We? Hell yeah. I saw that.
Alex and T-Bone's participation is roughly the same amount as your participation.
Sorry,
yes,
my
you
contact
and
just
you
ripped.
and you.
Oh, the fans are a part of our team? Hell yeah.
Every bit as much as you are. Coming up next, Jeremy Rutherford here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Cardinals took down the Giants yesterday 6-5. Game 2 of their 3-game set in San Francisco will be tonight. 8:45 will be first pitch. Andre Palante gets the start for the Cardinals. Logan Webb will get the start for San Francisco. News out of college football, Mike Gundy has been fired by Oklahoma State. The Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Heating and Air Conditioning dealer.
Well, the Blues might still be attempting to find Jim
the new
Montgomery.
coach. Jimmy's.
Well,
no.
Wait, do I need the breaking news sound?
No, last time I did this,
no.
we got yelled at because, remember we talked about Bannister and it didn't go well. So, nope, never mind. He's fine.
Yeah. So we're waiting on Jeremy
He's
Rutherford.
got meetings, man. Got to
He
break
may
down
or
this
may
stuff.
not be able to join us today. We'll let you know as we continue along here. But, Alex, we've got the Drew Barrymore show on in the studio.
I'm so glad we're bringing this up.
This needs to be where we're going with it.
So, Drew Barrymore, why is it on in our studio? Honestly, because we don't know where the remote is or how to
Whoever
change it.
watches the TV at night when they're in here, they decide what's on TV.
So it's on TV, and she's doing an interview. They're both on the couch together. And, Alex, she is no further than 6 inches away from her interview subject.
She's a close talker.
I don't understand this. Why did they decide that was the format to do with this show if she is a close talker? Have you been around somebody that is a close talker, and how do you specifically respond
Biggest
to that?
pet peeve, and I will be upfront and blunt with the person and say, can you please back up? There's been people in my life that I know everybody has this, that when they get close to you, and I mean, no joke, this is you. They like to get like this close. Like it's smelling breath. Like I know what you had for breakfast territory. You got to back on up. And we're watching this. And every time she leans in, the guy she's interviewing leans back. Like, why are you keep getting close to me? So a PSA for all of you out there, don't be a close talker.
Yeah, please. I don't know that I know anybody specifically about it, but man, this is the first time that I've really noticed it. Because I remember the Seinfeld episode where they do the close talker. Man, I looked up and I was like, this is uncomfortable. This looks too
I had
close.
a boss that was this way, to where it's like every time he would address you, it would be right in your face. And I'd be like, I can't do that because I already got like problems when I talk and like saliva comes out of my mouth because I got half of my mouth that doesn't work. So like imagine being close to somebody. There's going to be spit takes and nobody wants that.
Yeah, nobody needs that in their life. All right, so
BK seems like he's a close talker kind of guy.
No. I prefer to get further away.
That's a good point. And poke somebody's eye out and then you get a lawsuit on your hands.
All right, T-Bone.
Hey, you are getting
That little elf. He's a gnome, okay?
No, little L.
Oh, I thought you said little elf.
Little L or elf, depending on the day.
He's
or
a
the
gnome.
week.
That's what people call him as.
Okay, so Alex, did you see T-Bone? We haven't talked about this. The SEC's annual opponents. They do not want you to call them permanent opponents because according to the conference, these could change in 4 years. These are the teams that you will play each of the next 4 seasons, and then they'll reassess and see where you're at. You've seen these already, I'm assuming. They're supposed to be announced later on today, but they're already announced.
Leaks.
Mizzou's annual opponents are Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. T-Bone, it looks like JR's ready if you want to call him whenever you get a chance. Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. Did you see Mike Elko's quote on this yesterday?
I did not.
So for Texas A&M, who I would say is the outlier for Mizzou, I'm like, okay, Arkansas, that makes sense. It's a forced rivalry, but it's a rivalry nonetheless. Oklahoma makes all the sense in the world. Texas A&M just feels odd. There's really no, outside of the fact that they both happened to play in the Big 12, there's no real connection there. Mike Elko, the coach of Texas A&M during his press conference yesterday, was asked about their annual opponents, who are Texas, LSU, and Missouri.
Oh, here we go.
Said in-state rivalry, great. Always love playing LSU. And I'm not sure how Missouri got in there, but, It's the way that it
Well,
goes
welcome to a
sometimes.
rivalry now. You talk ish about the opponent. Now, they basically told both sides, make this an interesting matchup, and that's how.
Yeah, so both sides feel the same way about the game, where it's like, I guess we're playing this every year.
And then, you know what, 3 years from now, we're going to be talking about the rivalry.
Yeah, and South Carolina will be placed on Missouri's schedule instead. Happy to go out to the Callier and Thompson hotline to be joined by our friend, Blues insider for The Athletic. He's Jeremy Rutherford joining us here on the show. JR, I'm happy that you guys were able to find Jim Montgomery. How you doing today?
Hey, we worked it out, huh? Sorry about that, guys.
Where was he, JR, really?
There is a Monty spotting, and we did just interview him, so I just hear from 17, but sorry, it took me a while to be ready for you.
Don't sweat it, man. What did you learn from your conversation with Jim Montgomery today?
Yeah, I asked him the question. We saw what we think are some NHL lines in today's practice, and he said, yes, trying to put together guys who we think will play together. And obviously one of the headlines today for people who saw the lines, I know you guys talked about it, is you saw Pius Suter there in the middle of Dylan Holloway and Jordan Kyrou, where Shen played last year. And you saw Shen on the third line with Jake Neighbors. I asked Montgomery about that. Suter said, do you like him potentially on that second line? And he said, we like the player. We want to see what he can do. We like all of his details, but we know what Brady Shen looks like in between those. Taking a look to see what Pius Suter looks like. So, you know, you can read into it what you will. He did say that, hey, look, we're 5 days into camp. 11 days ago, you're going to see a lot of mixing and matching. So who knows what it'll look like on opening night. But for today, taking a look at Suter in the middle of those two.
Well, if you know me, JR, you know I do read into everything, and I read into it very intently.
Every single thing.
The way that I looked at these line combinations, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I looked at this as the competition for those final roster spots. Joseph's probably the leader in the clubhouse with Texier and Carbonneau right behind him, and then Lucic and then Dvorsky and Stenberg look like they might be destined for the AHL to start out.
Yeah, you can start to read a little bit into, I think, with what we've seen so far in a couple preseason games. You know, I'll touch on Joseph specifically. Jim Montgomery was asked about Joseph, and he said he likes what he's been doing. He likes his stick. He also likes the details that he's provided in his game. You know, I think we saw what Joseph can do a little bit more in that Columbus game. The thing with Matthew Joseph is doing it on a consistent basis. Like, even if he shows well in the preseason, even if he grabs that job on opening night on that third line right wing, you know, can he hang on to it? Can he do those things consistently? I think that's going to be the question with him. I did ask Jim Montgomery if Joseph can hold down that third line right wing spot, does that make you a deeper club? Because then you can put Nick Bukestad as your fourth line center. They want to be strong up the middle. That's been a position of weakness the past couple of years. They feel like they've added some depth. And if you can keep both Suter and Bukestad in the middle, then I think they're going to like that lineup. And, you know, Jim Montgomery, a little bit more diplomatic. He said there's some other guys on that fourth line that can make us a deep line too. So I think that right now Bukestad's been playing a lot of center. And if Joseph can play like he has thus far, I think you're right that he's probably the leader in the clubhouse as we speak.
JR, what stood out about Justin Carbonneau's performance in training camp to you?
Just the energy and just the enthusiasm, which here's the thing. You know, a lot of people say, well, you're going to say that about a guy who's coming in 18 years old, just drafted. He's excited to play. And that is true. You know, like, you do see that a lot with these first-round draft picks that come in. But there's another level of it with Carbonneau. Like, you can already project a year or two out, 3 years, what type of player this guy is going to be. He's going to be a go-to-the-net player. Like, I haven't seen a guy like him who comes in and plays the style that he's playing and then backs off or gets intimidated. These are the type of players who, you know, once they come to a camp and they're playing this style of game against NHL guys and doing it in the preseason games against other NHL guys, then I think that the Blues know what they have in Carbonneau. And so to me, it's that high intensity, it's that motor. And I think he's got a more hockey sense than maybe people give him credit for. You know, I've heard some questions about his defense and his all-around game, but I think what we've seen here through camp is that he's just a hockey player. He just wants to drop the puck. And, you know, I still think he's going to go back to junior. I think that's the plan, you know, unless he just continues to play the way he has. Maybe he gets that trial. But to me, whether it's this year, next year, year after, the Blues have a very high motor player.
Well, I saw this note, and I know you wrote about it with Milan Lucic, played in the first preseason game, but looks like he left practice earlier today, and Jim Montgomery saying that he may have tweaked his groin during that session. I would imagine that may set him back, JR, in terms of making this club if we're already talking about a potential injury for Lucic after one game.
Yeah, he said he's 50-50 for tomorrow's practice with that groin tweak is the way that Jim Montgomery coined it. And he did mention that, the second group, when they're out to practice, now keep in mind they're resurfacing every other 10 minutes, it seems like, but the ice does get a little bad for that second group, and Jim Montgomery mentioned that. Yeah, he thinks that Lucic hit a bit of a rut with his skate and tweaked something, and that 50-50. So obviously it doesn't help. I guess the biggest thing there is how long does it linger? You can call him 50-50 for tomorrow, but maybe it could be a situation he misses a few days, and then it's really tough to get a good evaluation. And if you have guys like Joseph playing well, or and/or Texier, then it's going to make it harder for Milan Lucic, and especially 37 years old. Once you do have an injury, are there questions about, hey, is this something that could be an issue with him moving forward? So certainly doesn't help, but as we sit here right now, it just looks like a day-to-day thing.
Do you believe, JR, and this is totally your opinion here, but do you believe that Lucic still has a real shot to make this team out of camp?
I think he's got a shot. I'm just going to be honest. The times that I've seen him, and we're talking about a scrimmage game here at Centene, we're talking about a preseason game that I'm watching on the stream. I haven't seen anything overly impressive that says this guy's got to make the team. You believe that he has the trust of the organization, or else they wouldn't have brought him in. So they're definitely giving him the opportunity, and I think they could look past maybe some shortcomings in practice or shortcomings in a preseason game, knowing that, hey, we know what this guy can bring, come early October. But I think, having said all that, he's got to look the role. And Jim Montgomery said it on day one. He's got to be a 200-foot player. And, for me, I just haven't seen a lot of that. And, granted, it's early in camp, and you don't want him crunching Brayton Shen into the boards in practice. I get it. But for me, if you're going to make this team, you can't. I realize we're not getting the Milan Lucic of 2010, but I think that you have to have a guy who's going to be able to come in and keep up with the speed of the game, and I don't know that I've seen that yet.
JR, appreciate the time as always, man. Thanks so much for working us in. I know it's been a busy day for you with a bunch of stuff going on with the Blues, so all the best. We'll talk with you again soon, my friend.
Yep, anytime, guys. Thanks.
That's Jeremy Rutherford joining us as he does each and every Tuesday here on BK and Ferrario. By the way, he has a really good piece that's up right now if you want to check it out. It's over on The Athletic. It's about Torrey Krug. He was able to have a pretty in-depth conversation about him, with where he's at, with his health, personally, professionally, all of that. So if you have not done so yet, and you don't have an account over at The Athletic, it's honestly worth the price of admission. So check that out. It's over at The Athletic, piece with Jeremy Rutherford and Torrey Krug. Coming up next with the Rewind here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex Ferrario and Tanner Hendrickson, I'm Brandon Kiley. You've got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast.
They just kissed. She's resting her arm on his leg, and she just kissed him.
Oh,
now they back away. What just happened?
Alex, people don't know what you're talking about because we're on the radio.
It's better that way.
It's better that we don't know what's happening.
Suddenly you just say randomly over the air with somebody that just got in their car, she just kissed him. Like, what are you talking? We're watching the Drew Barrymore show, which if you have any follow-up questions there, so do I.
So many questions.
And Drew Barrymore was
I gotta know what happened.
6 inches
Where's the TV on the
away from her guest. And that might be overstating it.
Yeah, so it was less than 6 inches.
So, yeah, that's where
There's
we're
a
at.
drop.
Anyways, if you missed anything from today's show, check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. Now she's crawling on him. I don't know what's going on. It's all sponsored by
Shea for Door Company.
That 101 ESPN app is super easy to use. It is free to download. It is sponsored by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. If you haven't had enough of me today on our show, I will be joining the Fast Lane coming up here in just a little bit. I apologize to some of you. You're welcome for others. Because they've got to shoot me in the ass because I lost in the Pick'em Challenge once again. What's your grade from today's show, Alex?
9.1.
Okay.
I'll go 8.1. There's a lot of negative talk on the Illinois side.
Oh, that's why it was a 9.1.
I was going 10.0. This is my pinnacle.
Well, you would have been higher if you wouldn't have looked at me and got angry.
This is everything that I want out of our radio show is for T-Bone to be miserable.
T-Bone, he said yesterday he wants to see if he can make you cry. That's what he said.
I didn't say that. It's not about making him cry. I just want him to squirm a little bit. Ooh. Just squirm.
I won't squirm. I still think I can do a better job getting under BK's skin.
Yes.
Both of us can do a better job of getting under. But BK does a great job of getting under mine, so.
Yeah, well, here we are.
You might be the king of that. I don't know anybody else who could get under my skin as much as you can.
We also spend an absurd amount of time together.
Yeah, absurd is the key word there.
I talk to these two as much as anybody other than my wife, probably. And some days more than my wife.
I agree with that.
When she's like, especially for you, Alex, T-Bone, you talk to us more than anybody.
Yeah, T-Bone doesn't have anybody to talk to other than us.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It's us and your dad. That's
I get kind of lonely when I go home. Nobody to talk to, you know? That's why I'm always excited when I walk in the office. I'm like, guys!
He is very happy. He's very happy.
It's a very different vibe when T-Bone walks in, because I'm typically the first one that comes in, because I drop off Luca, come over here. I'm in, I'm doing the work in the morning, whatever. T-Bone walks in. Hey, man, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. We'll go back and forth. Alex walks in.
Sits.
Just sits down. Drinks his coffee.
I try to pull him in.
I'm the kind of person that just likes to...
30 minutes later, we start going through.
I'm the kind of person that likes to investigate the room before I decide to start jumping into the water.
I got to say, now that I've been watching the Drew Barrymore show, I'm starting to wonder if we're too tight in our office.
The three of us?
Close. Yeah.
Believe me, if you would know if any of you got that close to me, somebody would be in trouble.
I don't think that is a fight that is worth arguing for us, T-Bone.
Yeah.
I think our office is going to stay the way that it is.
I might just.
You don't want to demand a new office like others have done here?
No, I think we're good.
You don't think we'd be successful with that?
I don't think we have that kind of sway.
I see Carrie. He's wearing his helmet.
Is he sad?
Still an Illinois guy. So we'll talk to him coming up here in just a little bit. As
what are we doing
get
here?
Punished. That's it. That's the end of the show.
Oh,
that's all.
I felt like you were going to say something Tony to me when I gave you the grade of my show today.
No, that was it.
I said 9.1, and you're like, I feel like, and then you got sidetracked, which is good.
We will be back at Centene tomorrow as we're out at
as I learned an hour ago
for the next couple of days, expecting to be joined by Blues chairman Tom Stillman at some point over the next couple of days out there.
As well as Blues players
coming through as well. For Alex Ferrario and Tanner Hendrickson, I'm Brandon Kiley. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Fast Lane's coming up next here on 101 ESPN.